There comes a time in life when you must face the inevitable. Something ends. It could be a relationship, a chapter of your life, or a dream that no longer serves you. Let it end. Do not resist, for in the end, there is only space for something new. An end is not the finality we often perceive it to be, but the beginning of something better, something that is in alignment with your true self. There are moments in life when something must come to an end. It might be the end of a relationship, the closure of a chapter in your career, or the conclusion of a long-held dream that no longer aligns with who you are becoming. In these moments, the tendency is to fight against the inevitable, to cling to what we know, what we are comfortable with, and what feels safe. But there is a profound truth: every end is simply the beginning of something new. The key to transformation lies in how we respond to the end. When something ends, whether it's a significant part of your life or a fleeting moment, it's easy to fall into despair, loss, or regret. We fear the unknown that comes after, the empty space that seems to stretch before us. But if we take a step back and observe, we realize that it's precisely in this emptiness where new things can take shape. You see, endings don't signify an absence, they create an opportunity. In every ending lies the potential for rebirth and renewal. The past must make way for the future, and the only way to make room for what is meant to come is to embrace what has been. The first step in embracing the end is recognizing that endings are a natural part of the flow of life. Change is constant, and nothing stays the same forever. Every aspect of life, from seasons to relationships to our personal growth, operates on cycles. We live in a world where nothing is static. To cling to what is familiar is to deny the rhythm of life itself. We cannot grow if we refuse to let go of what no longer serves us. Each end, no matter how painful or difficult, is simply an invitation to evolve. When we resist the end, we resist change. We hold on to what's familiar, because it gives us a sense of control and security, but in doing so, we also limit ourselves. Holding on can cause us to miss out on the next step, the new chapter waiting for us. Just as the trees shed their leaves in the fall to prepare for new growth in the spring, we too must shed the things that no longer nurture us in order to allow new possibilities to take root. Embracing the end doesn't mean that you must forget what has happened or pretend that it didn't matter. No, the key is to honor the past for what it was and to accept that it has fulfilled its purpose. Often we are taught to hold on, to preserve the past, and to keep what we have at all costs. But growth requires space. It requires an openness to what lies ahead, even if it's unclear or unknown. By embracing the end, we allow ourselves the freedom to move forward without the weight of the past weighing us down. In many ways, endings are a form of surrender. Surrendering does not mean giving up or giving in, it means letting go of the attachment to the outcome. It's recognizing that what we have experienced has been enough, and now it's time to release it and trust that something greater is on the horizon. It's difficult to let go of something we've invested so much time, energy, and emotion into. However, it's important to understand that holding on often only prolongs the suffering. The act of surrender is not a sign of weakness, but of strength. It takes courage to release, to acknowledge that what we've had is no longer in alignment with who we are becoming. It is also crucial to understand that every end brings with it a lesson. The experiences we undergo, whether joyous or painful, are always contributing to our growth and evolution. Even in the most challenging of endings, there are invaluable lessons to be learned. We can either focus on the pain of the loss, or we can choose to look at what we have gained. Every relationship, every job, every dream has shaped us in some way, leaving us more refined, more aware, and more equipped for what is to come. In the face of an ending, it is natural to feel sadness, anger, or fear. These are all valid emotions. However, we must not let them keep us trapped in the past. By embracing the end, we are not denying our emotions, but rather giving ourselves permission to feel and move through them. It's okay to mourn what has been lost, but we must not let grief prevent us from seeing what is ahead. The beauty of life lies in its impermanence. Each experience, each phase, has a beginning and an end. The key is not to avoid or resist the end, but to acknowledge it, honor it, and allow it to be a part of the beautiful tapestry of your life. We can find peace in knowing that the universe, or whatever higher force we believe in, has a plan for us. What ends is simply part of the grand design. By embracing the end, we are making space for the next phase of our journey. Trust that the universe always moves us toward what is best for us, even if it doesn't always appear that way in the moment. There is a deeper understanding, a deeper knowing, that we are always being guided toward the fulfillment of our greatest potential. So, let the end come. Do not resist it. Do not fear it. Accept it, and in doing so, open yourself up to the new possibilities that await. Know that by embracing the end, you are embracing the process of life itself. You are acknowledging the fluidity of existence and the power you have to create the life that is meant for you. When something ends, remember it is not the end of everything, it is the beginning of a new chapter, a new opportunity for growth, and a new path leading you toward the life you were always meant to live. To truly experience the depth of our emotions, we must first allow ourselves to feel. Yet so often when faced with pain or hurt, we instinctively try to avoid it. We fear it, deny it, or suppress it in an effort to protect ourselves from the discomfort it brings. However, there is a profound truth that can bring about a transformation in how we view and process our emotions. Feeling the hurt without resistance is the key to healing. When something painful happens, whether it's the end of a relationship, a loss, or a failure, it's easy to want to push those feelings aside. Society tells us to move on or get over it quickly, and we are conditioned to believe that we must always be strong, always composed, and always in control. This mindset leads to a disconnect between our emotional world and our true selves. The result? We hide our hurt, ignoring its presence as though it's something shameful or weak. But the truth is, our hurt is not something to run from, it is something to experience. Pain is a natural and inevitable part of the human experience. Just as joy and love are a part of us, so too is pain. It is a vital and necessary emotion, for it alerts us to areas of our lives that need attention, change, or healing. Pain isn't a punishment, it is a messenger. It tells us when we are out of alignment with our true selves, when we are grieving something lost, or when we are experiencing deep disappointment. To resist the pain is to resist the very message it brings. When we resist our hurt, we suppress it, often burying it so deep within that it manifests in other ways: stress, anxiety, or even physical ailments. Our minds and bodies have a unique way of storing emotions that are unprocessed, and these unaddressed feelings can weigh heavily on us. By denying the hurt, we create an internal battle that only prolongs the suffering. It is not the hurt itself that causes lasting pain, but our resistance to it. It's only when we face the hurt head-on, without fear or resistance, that we can truly begin to heal. Feeling the hurt without resistance means allowing ourselves to fully experience the emotions as they come. This is not a passive act, but an active choice to embrace the pain with the awareness that it is not permanent. We can sit with it, breathe through it, and allow it to move through us. This approach requires courage, as it involves confronting the vulnerability and rawness of our emotions. However, when we allow ourselves to feel, we free ourselves from the chains of suppression and denial. When we stop fighting against the hurt, we can begin to understand its deeper meaning. Emotions are not random or meaningless. Every emotion we feel is a reflection of our inner world. Pain often comes when we have unmet needs, unhealed wounds, or unresolved trauma. By allowing ourselves to feel this hurt, we open the door to understanding what lies beneath it. What is this pain telling us about our desires, our boundaries, and our own growth? When we stop resisting and allow ourselves to feel the pain, we create the space to truly hear what our emotions have to teach us. In feeling the hurt, we allow ourselves to process it fully. Our emotions need to be expressed in order to be released. Bottling up feelings only delays healing and leaves us stuck in a cycle of emotional buildup. But when we honor our emotions, whether through tears, quiet reflection, or expressing our feelings to others, we begin the process of releasing what no longer serves us. the hurt can be processed and, in time, transformed into wisdom and strength. To feel the hurt without resistance is also to trust in the natural ebb and flow of our emotional lives. We must understand that no emotion, no matter how intense, will last forever. Pain is not a permanent state, it is a phase, a season. Just as the weather changes, so too will our emotional state. The key is to stay present with it and trust that it will pass when it has taught us what we need to learn. The pain will ebb, and in its wake, we will find ourselves stronger and more resilient. One of the most liberating aspects of feeling the hurt without resistance is that it allows us to be compassionate with ourselves. Often when we feel pain, we criticize ourselves for not being strong enough or over it already. We tell ourselves that we should be past this by now. But these self-judgments only add to the suffering. When we allow ourselves to simply feel, we embrace our humanity. We give ourselves the permission to be imperfect, to be vulnerable, and to experience life fully. By feeling the hurt, we also give ourselves the opportunity to heal in a deeper way. Healing is not a linear process. It doesn't happen overnight, and it certainly doesn't happen by forcing it. Healing requires patience, gentleness, and acceptance. It's about acknowledging that pain is a part of life's journey, and it is something that will eventually pass. But in order for healing to occur, we must first be willing to face the hurt, to experience it fully, and to release it without trying to control it. As we begin to feel the hurt without resistance, we tap into a greater sense of peace. This peace comes from the understanding that our emotions are valid, and that we are allowed to feel whatever we are feeling. It is the peace that comes from knowing that pain is not something to be ashamed of, but something to be understood, processed, and released. By embracing the hurt, we learn to embrace ourselves. We learn that we are capable of moving through difficult emotions and emerging on the other side stronger, wiser, and more compassionate. So, the next time you feel pain, do not run from it. Do not push it away or try to avoid it. Instead, choose to feel it fully. Sit with it, breathe through it, and trust that in doing so, you are healing. Allow the hurt to be a part of your journey, and let it guide you to a place of greater self-awareness and strength. For it is through the act of feeling, without resistance, that you will find the peace and healing you seek. Acceptance is one of the most powerful tools we have in life. It is a transformative force that, when fully embraced, can unlock our potential, bring peace, and create the freedom we seek. So often we are conditioned to resist the things we cannot control, to fight against what feels uncomfortable or out of our control. However, in doing so, we only prolong our suffering. True peace comes not from fighting against life's challenges, but from accepting them as part of the journey. Acceptance is not about resignation or giving up. It's not about tolerating negative situations or passively allowing things to happen to us. Rather, it's about acknowledging the reality of a situation, embracing it for what it is, and finding a way to move forward in a positive, empowered way. It is about recognizing that there are things in life we cannot change, and instead of fighting against them, we choose to accept them as they are, without resistance or judgment. When we resist something, we give it power over us. Resistance creates a sense of struggle, frustration, and helplessness. We exhaust ourselves fighting against what we cannot change. However, when we shift our mindset from resistance to acceptance, we immediately release that power. We regain control over our emotional state, and we begin to move forward. It is in this space of acceptance that true growth occurs. When we stop fighting, we make room for new possibilities to enter our lives. Accepting what is doesn't mean we condone everything or stop striving for improvement. It's about recognizing that certain circumstances, whether it be pain, disappointment, or obstacles, are part of life's natural rhythm. Every challenge, every hardship, has the potential to teach us something valuable. By accepting the situation as it is, we open ourselves to the lessons it holds. We may not always understand why something is happening, but we can trust that it is unfolding in a way that serves our higher purpose. The power of acceptance also lies in the ability to stop resisting our own feelings. So often, when we experience negative emotions like sadness, anger, or frustration, we feel guilty or ashamed for feeling them. We might judge ourselves for being weak or emotional, thinking that we should be able to handle things better. However, when we resist our feelings, we create an inner conflict. The more we try to push our emotions away, the more they persist, often growing in intensity. But when we accept our emotions without judgment or resistance, we allow them to move through us naturally. We acknowledge them, process them, and then release them. Acceptance creates the space for healing. In relationships, acceptance is also a crucial element. We often have expectations of others, hoping they will behave or respond in a certain way. However, when we accept people for who they truly are, rather than who we want them to be, we experience a profound shift. We release the need to control or change them, and instead we focus on appreciating them for their uniqueness. This doesn't mean we accept harmful behaviors or tolerate mistreatment, but it does mean we acknowledge others' flaws, imperfections, and differences without judgment. By accepting people as they are, we create a foundation of trust and respect that fosters genuine connection. Acceptance also plays a significant role in our ability to heal and grow. Many of us carry around past hurts, regrets, and wounds that we have not fully processed. We often replay painful memories or ruminate over things we wish had turned out differently. But the more we resist the pain, the more it persists. True healing begins when we accept the past without judgment or blame. This doesn't mean we condone what happened or forget it, but we stop allowing it to have power over us. We accept that the past is done, and by doing so, we release ourselves from the chains that bind us to it. Acceptance is a key component in our ability to create the future we desire. When we accept the present moment for what it is, we free ourselves from the grip of anxiety and fear about the future. So much of our stress comes from worrying about what might happen or how things might turn out. But when we accept that we cannot predict the future, we free ourselves from the burden of trying to control it. We focus on the present moment, take inspired action, and trust that everything will unfold as it should. Acceptance allows us to let go of the need to have everything figured out and gives us the confidence to move forward with faith and trust. The process of acceptance also invites gratitude into our lives. When we accept things as they are, we begin to see the blessings in the midst of challenges. Acceptance allows us to recognize that every experience, even the difficult ones, is contributing to our growth. We learn to appreciate the lessons that life offers us and find meaning in what we go through. It's easy to be grateful when things are going well, but it's in the moments of difficulty that we have the opportunity to deepen our gratitude. Acceptance teaches us that even in our struggles, there is something to be thankful for. Acceptance is not just about making peace with the things we cannot change, it is about empowering ourselves to create the life we desire. It is about surrendering to the flow of life and trusting that everything is unfolding as it should. By accepting what is, we release resistance and open ourselves to new opportunities, new insights, and new possibilities. We stop fighting against the current and begin to flow with it, knowing that life will always bring us what we need when we are ready to receive it. In embracing acceptance, we create space for peace, joy, and fulfillment. We stop being weighed down by the burdens of resistance and instead step into a place of flow and ease. Acceptance doesn't mean we give up on our dreams or stop striving for better. It simply means that we accept where we are right now, without judgment, and trust that everything is happening for our highest good. This is the power of acceptance to bring us peace, to heal our wounds, and to guide us toward a brighter, more fulfilled future. Healing is not something that is granted to us from the outside, it is something that begins deep within. It is a process that starts with an inward journey, a return to self. For many of us, the idea of healing conjures up images of external solutions, medications, therapies, or the presence of others. While these can support us, true healing happens when we turn inward, acknowledging the wounds within, understanding their source, and working through them. Healing is not a destination, but a continuous process that arises from within our own hearts, minds, and souls. The first step in this inward journey is self-awareness. Without truly understanding where our pain originates, we cannot begin to heal. Often we are unaware of the emotional scars we carry, buried deep within our subconscious. These scars may stem from childhood trauma, past relationships, unmet needs, or difficult life experiences. They may not always be immediately apparent, but they shape our perceptions, behaviors, and reactions. Healing starts when we become aware of these unresolved emotions. It is not enough to simply acknowledge them in passing. We must take the time to sit with them, reflect upon them, and give them space to surface. Once we acknowledge the pain, we must accept it. Acceptance is crucial in the healing process because it allows us to move forward. Many people resist their pain, either by denying it or by pushing it away, thinking that ignoring it will somehow make it go away. But resistance only prolongs suffering. Pain cannot heal unless it is allowed to be felt fully. The more we resist, the more we empower the pain to control us. Accepting the pain, on the other hand, means facing it with courage and compassion. We must be gentle with ourselves, allowing the hurt to come and go without judgment or condemnation. By accepting our emotions as they are, we begin to release their hold on us. Also requires forgiveness. Often the deepest wounds we carry are the result of hurt caused by others' betrayals, disappointments, or even neglect. These emotional wounds can fester and grow, preventing us from moving forward. Holding on to resentment or anger keeps us tied to the past and prevents us from healing. Forgiveness is not about condoning the hurt or excusing the actions of others. It is about freeing ourselves from the grip of those past emotions. When we forgive, we are not releasing others from their actions, but releasing ourselves from the burden of carrying that pain. Forgiveness sets us free. It allows us to move on, to heal, and to create the space for peace within. But forgiveness must first begin with ourselves. We cannot fully forgive others until we have forgiven ourselves. Many of us are burdened by guilt, shame, or regret from our past actions, and these emotions can weigh heavily on our ability to heal. Self-forgiveness is the first and most important step. We are all imperfect, and we all make mistakes. The key is to understand that our mistakes do not define us. We must be willing to show ourselves the same compassion we would show a loved one. It is in this self-compassion that healing truly begins. Only when we forgive ourselves can we release the shame, guilt, and self-blame that prevent us from fully embracing who we are. Healing also involves the practice of self-care. While the inner work of healing is essential, it is equally important to nurture our physical, mental, and emotional well-being. We cannot neglect our bodies, minds, or spirits and expect to heal. Self-care is an act of honoring ourselves. It involves taking the time to nourish our bodies with healthy food, rest, and exercise. It means surrounding ourselves with positive, supportive people who lift us up rather than drag us down. Self-care also includes protecting our mental and emotional boundaries, learning to say no when necessary, and ensuring that we are not giving more than we can handle. It is about taking ownership of our well-being and prioritizing our health physically, emotionally, and spiritually. A crucial aspect of healing within is the cultivation of a positive mindset. Our thoughts have a profound impact on our emotional and physical well-being. Negative thinking, self-criticism, and fear-based thoughts can create blockages within us that prevent healing. On the other hand, positive thoughts can have a healing effect, releasing tension, reducing stress, and even boosting the immune system. Healing begins when we recognize the power of our thoughts and take control of them. We must learn to challenge negative thought patterns and replace them with affirmations of love, kindness, and compassion toward ourselves. The more we nurture a positive inner dialogue, the more we create a healing environment within our own minds. Another essential aspect of healing is letting go. Often we cling to old patterns, beliefs, or relationships because they are familiar, even if they are no longer serving us. These attachments hold us back from healing. Letting go can be one of the most difficult parts of the healing process, but it is also one of the most liberating. Whether it's letting go of toxic relationships, outdated beliefs, or past mistakes, releasing what no longer serves us makes room for new growth and transformation. We must be willing to release the weight of the past in order to embrace the present moment fully. Healing begins within, because it is only when we look inward that we can truly understand the source of our pain. We cannot control everything that happens to us, but we can control how we respond. By taking ownership of our emotions, accepting them, forgiving ourselves and others, and practicing self-care, we create the conditions necessary for healing. This process requires patience, self-compassion, and time, but the rewards are immeasurable. When we heal from within, we transform not only ourselves but also the world around us. We become more resilient, more compassionate, and more at peace with who we are. Healing begins within, and when we embrace this truth, we can unlock the power to create the life we truly desire. Trusting in divine timing is a powerful practice that asks us to surrender our need for control and to trust that everything in our lives is unfolding exactly as it is meant to. It is the understanding that life operates on its own schedule, and while we may not always see the bigger picture, there is a higher intelligence guiding us through every experience. The key is to learn to embrace patience, faith, and surrender as we navigate the journey, knowing that what is meant for us will come at the right time, in the right way. Divine timing is not something we can force. It operates outside the boundaries of our limited understanding of time. We often become frustrated and anxious when things don't happen on our desired timeline. We may think that we are falling behind, that we've missed an opportunity, or that life is not moving fast enough. However, divine timing is a reminder that everything happens in its perfect time. When we try to rush things, we interfere with the natural flow of life. The more we resist the timing of events, the more we create tension and stress within ourselves. But when we trust in divine timing, we release the need to control and allow life to unfold naturally. One of the first steps in trusting divine timing is letting go of our attachment to specific outcomes. So often we become fixated on a particular vision of how we want things to unfold, and when things don't go as planned, we feel disappointed or disillusioned. We have expectations of when certain milestones should happen, and if they don't align with our timeline, we feel lost. But divine timing teaches us that there is wisdom in the unknown. We are often given what we need, not what we think we want. There are moments when the universe withholds something from us because we are not yet ready to receive it. We might be waiting for a job opportunity, a relationship, or a dream to manifest. But sometimes we need more time to grow, to learn, or to heal before we are prepared for what is coming. Trusting divine timing means having faith that we will be given what is meant for us at the perfect moment, and that everything is aligning for our highest good. This trust requires a deep sense of patience. In a world where instant gratification is the norm, patience can feel like a lost art. We are taught to move quickly, to achieve immediately, and to make things happen on our own. However, patience is an essential component of divine timing. It reminds us that life is not a race. It's about enjoying the journey and trusting that we are being guided every step of the way. Patience is not passive, it is an active trust in the process. It's about understanding that while we may not always see immediate results, the seeds we plant today will one day grow into something beautiful. And sometimes the greatest lessons come in the waiting. It is during these periods of waiting that we cultivate resilience, strength, and understanding. Trusting in divine timing also requires the ability to surrender. Surrender is often misunderstood as giving up or resigning ourselves to passivity, but it is actually an act of courage. Surrender means acknowledging that we cannot control everything and that there is a greater force at work. It is about releasing our need for certainty and accepting that life unfolds in its own time. When we surrender, we allow ourselves to be open to the unexpected, to new opportunities, and to the lessons that come our way. Surrender does not mean inaction, rather. It means letting go of the need to force things and trusting that when the time is right, everything will align. Part of surrendering to divine timing is embracing the idea that delays or detours are not signs of failure but of protection. Sometimes things don't happen when we want them to, because we are being steered away from something that is not right for us. We may not understand why a door has closed, but trusting divine timing means knowing that there is something better waiting for us. The delay is not a denial, it's simply the universe creating space for something more aligned with our true purpose to manifest. We have all experienced moments when something didn't go according to plan, only to later realize that it was for our own good. It was a blessing in disguise, a lesson we needed to learn, or a redirection toward a more fulfilling path. Trusting divine timing also requires us to cultivate faith. Faith is the belief that everything is happening for a reason, even when we cannot see it. It is the understanding that there is a greater plan in motion, even if it doesn't make sense in the moment. Faith in divine timing means that we trust that the universe, or whatever higher power we believe in, is guiding us toward what we need. Faith allows us to be at peace with the unknown. We don't need to have all the answers, we simply need to trust that the answers will come when we are ready to receive them. Faith reminds us that we are not alone on this journey, and that the universe is conspiring in our favor, even when things seem uncertain. As we learn to trust in divine timing, we also begin to recognize the signs and synchronicities that guide us. The universe has a way of sending us messages when we are on the right path. These can come in the form of intuitive nudges, coincidences, or unexpected opportunities. Trusting divine timing means learning to listen to these signals and being open to the ways the universe communicates with us. It's about understanding that everything is connected, and when we are aligned with the flow of life, we are more likely to encounter moments of serendipity and guidance. Releasing what no longer serves you is an act of profound transformation. It is the conscious choice to let go of the old, the outdated, and the burdens that keep you from becoming the person you are meant to be. We all carry with us elements of our past old habits, limiting beliefs, toxic relationships, and unhealed wounds that shape our present. These things can hold us back from experiencing true peace, joy, and fulfillment. But in order to move forward, we must learn to release them. Releasing is not about forgetting or erasing the past. It's about freeing ourselves from the weight that it carries. It's about clearing space for new growth, new opportunities, and new experiences. One of the first steps in releasing what no longer serves you is recognizing what it is. We often get so used to the things in our lives that we forget to evaluate whether they are truly serving us, or if they have simply become a part of the familiar routine. These may be thoughts, behaviors, or even physical possessions that we hold on to out of habit or comfort, but they no longer add value to our lives. It's important to take an honest look at what is draining our energy, what is holding us back, and what is keeping us stuck in the past. This might include relationships that no longer align with our values, self-doubts that limit our potential, or attachments to material things that give us temporary satisfaction, but not lasting fulfillment. Once we've identified what is no longer serving us, the next step is to acknowledge the pain or fear associated with letting go. Change is not easy. We may fear the unknown, worry about what we will lose, or feel like we are giving up something that once brought us comfort. The attachments we have to certain people, situations, or beliefs are often rooted in fear of not being good enough, fear of failure, or fear of being alone. But holding on to these fears only prevents us from moving forward. To release what no longer serves us, we must be willing to confront our fears, sit with them, and move through them. It's not about eliminating fear entirely, but about choosing not to let fear dictate our actions. It's about recognizing that our growth lies on the other side of discomfort. Releasing requires us to practice forgiveness both of others and ourselves. Often the things we need to release are tied to past hurts and unresolved emotional baggage. We may carry anger or resentment toward others for how they have treated us, or we may harbor guilt or shame for our own past actions. These negative emotions keep us tethered to the past and prevent us from moving forward. To truly release, we must let go of these emotional burdens. Forgiveness is not about excusing the wrongs done to us or absolving ourselves of responsibility. It is about freeing ourselves from the grip of these emotions. Forgiveness is an act of self-liberation. When we forgive, we release the hold that the past has on us, and we make space for healing and peace to enter our lives. Letting go also involves detaching from the need for external validation. So much of what we hold on to is tied to our desire for approval from others. We may stay in relationships or situations because we fear rejection, or we may strive for perfection in our work or appearance in order to gain praise. But when we are constantly seeking validation from the outside, we lose sight of our own worth. Releasing what no longer serves us means returning to our true selves. independent of external opinions. It means trusting that we are enough, just as we are, and that our value does not depend on others' perceptions. By releasing the need for approval, we open the door to authentic self-expression and self-love. Sometimes, letting go involves releasing our attachment to specific outcomes. We may set goals or have dreams, and we become attached to how we think they should unfold. However, life has a way of surprising us, often in ways we don't expect. When we cling too tightly to how we want things to happen, we close ourselves off from the possibilities that life has to offer. Releasing attachment means trusting that whatever comes will be for our highest good, even if it doesn't look exactly like we envisioned it. It's about letting go of the need to control the future and allowing life to unfold naturally. By releasing attachment, we allow ourselves to experience more joy, flexibility, and peace. Releasing is also a physical act. We can begin by clearing out our physical spaces, our homes, our workplaces, and even our digital spaces. Our environment is a reflection of our inner state, and when we are surrounded by clutter and disorganization, it can contribute to mental and emotional chaos. Letting go of physical possessions that no longer serve us creates space for new energy to flow. It's a symbolic act that mirrors the release we are making on an emotional and spiritual level. As we let go of material things, we also let go of the attachments and beliefs that keep us tethered to the past. The act of releasing is liberating, and it invites new opportunities and experiences into our lives. The final step in releasing is trusting the process. Letting go can feel uncomfortable at times, especially when we are unsure of what will come next. However, trusting in the process of release is essential. When we let go of what no longer serves us, we create space for the new, the unknown, and the better. The universe has a way of filling the void we create with what is meant for us. Trusting the process means believing that once we release, we are making room for greater things, things that align with our true desires and purpose. Releasing what no longer serves us is an act of courage, clarity, and self-love. It is about identifying what holds us back, confronting the fear and pain tied to these attachments, and making the conscious decision to let go. By practicing forgiveness, detachment, and trust, we free ourselves from the limitations of the past and open ourselves to new possibilities. The process of release is ongoing and transformative, leading us to deeper peace, greater authenticity, and a life aligned with our true purpose. Letting go is not about losing, it is about making space for growth, healing, and the fulfillment of our deepest desires. Forgiveness is one of the most powerful tools for emotional and spiritual growth. It is not just about letting go of anger, resentment, or hurt. It is about freeing ourselves from the emotional burdens that keep us stuck in the past. When we forgive, we release the grip that negative emotions have over us and open ourselves up to peace, healing, and transformation. Forgiveness is a gift we give ourselves, one that allows us to move forward with our lives, unburdened by the weight of past pain. The power of forgiveness lies in its ability to shift our perspective. When we hold on to grudges, we are essentially keeping ourselves trapped in the past. We replay the hurtful events over and over in our minds, allowing them to shape our present and even our future. These negative emotions can cloud our judgment, distort our relationships, and prevent us from experiencing joy and fulfillment. Forgiveness, however, allows us to release the past and step into the present moment. It is the conscious decision to stop allowing someone else's actions to dictate our emotional state. By forgiving, we are choosing to take back our power and reclaim control over our emotional well-being. Does not mean excusing or condoning the behavior of those who have hurt us. It is not about saying that what happened was acceptable or that we should forget the wrong that was done to us. Instead, it is about acknowledging the pain, the injustice, or the betrayal, and choosing to let go of the negative emotions associated with it. It is a decision to stop carrying the weight of anger, resentment, and hurt, which ultimately only harms us, not the person who wronged us. By forgiving, we are choosing to free ourselves from the emotional imprisonment of the past, and in doing so, we create space for healing to occur. At its core, forgiveness is about releasing the need for revenge or retribution. When we are hurt, it is natural to feel the desire for justice, for the wrongdoer to face the consequences of their actions. However, holding on to the desire for vengeance only keeps us entangled in the cycle of anger and pain. Revenge may offer temporary satisfaction, but it does nothing to heal the emotional wounds we carry. In fact, it only deepens the pain and keeps us stuck in the past. Forgiveness, on the other hand, allows us to break free from this cycle. It is an act of emotional liberation that frees us from the need to seek punishment or retribution. It is a decision to let go of the past and trust that justice will come in its own time, in its own way. One of the most powerful aspects of forgiveness is its ability to heal our own hearts. When we forgive, we are not just releasing the other person, we are also healing ourselves. Unforgiveness is like poison in the soul. It festers and grows, eating away at our happiness and peace of mind. It can manifest in physical ailments, strained relationships, and a general sense of discontent. When we choose to forgive, we free ourselves from this poison. We stop letting the actions of others dictate how we feel, and we regain our emotional balance. Forgiveness is a gift we give to ourselves because it allows us to move forward with peace in our hearts, unburdened by the past. Also has the power to transform our relationships. When we hold on to resentment, we build walls between ourselves and others. These walls create distance and prevent intimacy, connection, and trust. By forgiving, we tear down these walls and allow for healing to take place. Forgiveness does not always mean reconciling or returning to a relationship as it was before. It simply means releasing the emotional charge attached to the event. It means no longer allowing the past to define our interactions with others. By forgiving, we create space for growth, understanding, and deeper connection. Even if the relationship cannot be restored, forgiveness allows us to move on with peace in our hearts, no longer carrying the weight of bitterness or resentment. Forgiveness is also a way to release ourselves from the grip of victimhood. When we hold on to anger and resentment, we are essentially giving away our power. We are allowing the actions of others to define us and control how we feel. We become victims of our circumstances, constantly reliving the pain and hurt of the past. Forgiveness, however, is an act of empowerment. It is a conscious choice to stop being a victim of our past and to take back our power. It is a decision to stop allowing the actions of others to control how we feel and to instead take responsibility for our emotional state. Forgiveness frees us from the role of the victim and allows us to reclaim our personal power. It is not always easy. It requires vulnerability, humility, and strength. It is often much easier to hold on to anger and resentment than to let them go. We may feel justified in our hurt, and we may believe that by forgiving, we are somehow letting the other person off the hook. But the truth is, holding on to anger only hurts us in the end. Forgiveness is not about condoning the behavior of others. It is about freeing ourselves from the emotional weight of the past. It is about choosing to move forward with peace in our hearts, regardless of what has happened. The process of forgiveness is different for everyone. It may take time, reflection, and even the help of a therapist or spiritual guide. It is important to give ourselves permission to forgive at our own pace. Some wounds may take longer to heal than others, and that is okay. Forgiveness is a journey, not a destination. It is a continuous process of letting go, releasing the past, and choosing peace in the present moment. With time, the burden of unforgiveness lightens, and we are left with a sense of freedom and emotional clarity. The power of forgiveness is profound. It is a transformative act that allows us to release the pain of the past and create space for healing, peace, and growth. Forgiveness is not about excusing the actions of others, but about freeing ourselves from the grip of negative emotions. It is a gift we give to ourselves, one that allows us to move forward with emotional freedom and strength. By forgiving, we reclaim our power, heal our hearts, and transform our relationships. Forgiveness is not a sign of weakness, but a testament to our strength and resilience. It is a powerful tool for emotional liberation, one that can bring lasting peace and transformation to our lives. Moving forward with grace is about embracing change, navigating life's challenges, and stepping into the future with a sense of dignity, compassion, and poise. Life will inevitably present us with moments of difficulty, uncertainty, and even heartbreak, but how we respond to these moments can shape our journey and define our character. Moving forward with grace is not about avoiding pain or pretending that challenges don't exist. It is about facing them with a mindset that allows us to learn, grow, and evolve, while maintaining inner peace and respect for ourselves and others. One of the first steps in moving forward with grace is accepting that life is not always going to go according to plan. Expectations can be powerful, and it's natural to hope for certain outcomes, whether in relationships, career, or personal goals. However, life has a way of surprising us, often throwing us off course in ways that we could never anticipate. The key to moving forward with grace is accepting that setbacks, disappointments, and detours are part of the journey. Acceptance does not mean resignation, rather. It means acknowledging the reality of the situation without resistance. When we fight against what is happening, we only prolong our suffering. Acceptance allows us to flow with life, rather than against it, and it enables us to respond with a calm, centered mind, rather than reacting out of frustration or fear. Moving forward with grace also requires a deep sense of self-compassion. During times of hardship, it's easy to be hard on ourselves, to fall into self-criticism or self-blame. We might feel like we are failing or that we're not doing enough. However, treating ourselves with kindness and understanding is essential for healing and growth. We must remind ourselves that it's okay to stumble, to make mistakes, and to experience setbacks. We are human, and part of being human is learning how to rise after we fall. Self-compassion allows us to approach our struggles with a sense of gentleness, offering ourselves the same empathy and support that we would offer a loved one in a similar situation. By treating ourselves with grace, we create the space for healing to take place, allowing us to move forward with greater resilience and strength. Another crucial aspect of moving forward with grace is letting go of the past. Often we carry emotional baggage from previous experiences that weigh us down and prevent us from fully embracing the present. Whether it's past regrets, old wounds, or unresolved pain, these emotions can cloud our judgment and hinder our ability to move forward. Letting go does not mean forgetting. It means releasing the emotional charge tied to those experiences. It means making the conscious choice to no longer let the past dictate our present or our future. When we release the grip of the past, we open ourselves to new possibilities and new experiences. We free ourselves from the chains of resentment, regret, and guilt, allowing our hearts to heal and our minds to clear. This act of letting go is an act of grace in itself, as it requires trust that we are capable of moving forward without the weight of what has already happened. Moving forward with grace also means maintaining a positive mindset, even in the face of adversity. Our thoughts have incredible power over our emotions and experiences. If we focus on the obstacles in front of us, it can be easy to feel overwhelmed or discouraged. But when we shift our focus to what we can learn from each challenge, we begin to see the opportunities for growth that are present, even in the most difficult situations. Moving forward with grace requires a shift in perspective, a commitment to finding the silver lining and embracing the lessons that come with every trial. This doesn't mean pretending that everything is fine. When it isn't, it means acknowledging the difficulty while choosing to remain hopeful and open to the possibility of growth. A positive mindset does not guarantee that everything will go perfectly, but it does give us the strength and determination to keep going, even when things seem uncertain. A key component of grace is understanding that we are not in control of everything. There are many aspects of life that are beyond our influence, and trying to control the uncontrollable only leads to frustration and stress. Moving forward with grace involves surrendering to the flow of life and trusting that everything is unfolding as it should. It's about accepting that some things are outside of our control, but that doesn't diminish our power to choose how we respond. By releasing the need to control every outcome, we free ourselves from the anxiety that often accompanies uncertainty. Surrendering doesn't mean giving up. It means trusting that, in time, things will fall into place as they are meant to. To move forward with grace, we must also cultivate patience. The path to healing and growth is rarely a straight line. There will be ups and downs, periods of progress, and moments of setback. Patience allows us to be gentle with ourselves during the process. It reminds us that it's okay to take things one step at a time, and that progress is not always linear. The beauty of moving forward with grace is that it's not about rushing toward an end goal. It's about embracing the journey, knowing that each step, no matter how small, brings us closer to our true purpose. Patience gives us the space to breathe, to grow, and to trust that everything is happening in its own time. Moving forward with grace also involves extending that grace to others. As we navigate our own struggles and triumphs, we must remember that everyone else is on their own unique journey. The people may hurt us, disappoint us, or make mistakes along the way, but holding on to grudges or resentment only keeps us bound to the past. Offering grace to others means letting go of the need to hold them accountable for every wrong and choosing to see them as fellow travelers on this path of life. When we extend grace to others, we free ourselves from the burden of judgment and open ourselves to the beauty of understanding, empathy, and compassion. Moving forward with grace is about embracing the present moment. Often we get so caught up in what has happened or what might happen that we forget to fully experience the here and now. The present is the only time we truly have, and it is where we have the power to make choices, to heal, and to create. When we move forward with grace, we make the conscious decision to be present, to appreciate the small moments, and to fully engage with the life that is unfolding right before us. By embracing the present, we empower ourselves to create a future that is aligned with our true desires and values. Moving forward with grace is an act of self-love, self-compassion, and trust in the process of life. It is about accepting the ebb and flow of life's challenges, letting go of the past, maintaining a positive and open mindset, and surrendering to the wisdom of divine timing. But it is about moving forward with patience, understanding, and a sense of inner peace, knowing that each step, no matter how small, brings us closer to the person we are meant to become. Moving forward with grace allows us to face life's trials with courage, to learn from our experiences, and to emerge stronger, wiser, and more compassionate. It is the art of navigating life's journey with poise, dignity, and a heart full of hope. In conclusion, moving forward with grace is about embracing the fullness of life, the challenges, the triumphs, and everything in between. It requires us to accept, heal, and release what no longer serves us, while trusting in the process and timing of life. Through patience, self-compassion, and a positive mindset, we are able to navigate the ups and downs with dignity and strength. Moving forward with grace is not just a choice, but a way of being, one that allows us to grow, learn, and transform into the best version of ourselves. Thank you for taking this journey with me, and may you continue to move forward with grace, no matter where life leads you. My friends, to call on God is to awaken the truth of your being. It is not a plea to some distant deity, but an intimate communion with the eternal presence within you. To truly understand how to call on God, you must first recognize an extraordinary truth: God dwells within you. This revelation is the foundation upon which all spiritual transformation rests. It is not a poetic metaphor or a comforting idea, it is an immutable reality. The divine presence is not some far-off entity in the heavens, watching your life from a distance. It is the very essence of your being, closer to you than your own breath. When you look outward for God, you miss the most profound aspect of His nature. Searching for answers in the external world leads only to confusion and frustration. The miracles, the power, and the wisdom you seek are already within you, waiting to be realized. This inner presence is not a fragment of God, but the fullness of Him expressed through your consciousness. To awaken to this truth is to recognize your divine nature and the limitless potential that comes with it. God within you means that the creative power of the universe resides in the depths of your soul. Every thought, every desire, and every dream are infused with divine energy. When you imagine something, you are not merely entertaining a passing idea. You are activating this divine presence to bring forth the reality you envision. This is why the imagination is sacred. It is the tool through which God expresses His power in your life. Think about the implications of this truth. If God truly dwells within you, then there is nothing you lack. The peace you seek, the love you desire, the abundance you crave, all of it is already yours in potential. The only thing required is for you to acknowledge this reality and align yourself with it. This alignment begins with a change in perception. Instead of seeing yourself as separate from God, recognize that you are one with Him, an extension of His infinite being. To call on God, then, is not to reach outward but to turn inward. It is to silence the noise of the world and listen to the still, small voice within. This voice is not always loud or commanding. It is subtle, gentle, and unwavering. It speaks through your intuition, your desires, and your imagination. When you feel a deep longing for something, that is God stirring within you, guiding you toward the fulfillment of your highest potential. But how often do we ignore this inner presence? We search for answers in the opinions of others, in external circumstances, or in fleeting distractions. We assume that the solutions to our problems lie outside of us, when in reality everything we need is already present within. The act of calling on God is a return to this inner source. It is a remembrance of who you truly are, a being created in the image of the divine, endowed with the same creative power that formed the universe. There is a profound sense of peace that comes from this understanding. When you know that God dwells within you, you no longer feel the need to strive, struggle, or beg for what you desire. Instead, you approach life with a quiet confidence, knowing that you are supported by an infinite power. This does not mean you sit idly by and wait for things to happen. It means you act from a place of trust, guided by the inner assurance that the divine presence is working through you to bring your desires to fruition. This inner connection to God also means that you are never alone. No matter how difficult your circumstances may appear, no matter how isolated you may feel, the presence of God within you remains constant. In moments of doubt or despair, you can turn inward and find solace in this truth. The world may change, people may come and go, but the divine presence within you is eternal and unchanging. To live with the awareness that God dwells within you is to live a life of empowerment. You begin to see yourself not as a victim of circumstance, but as a creator of your reality. You understand that your thoughts and beliefs shape the world around you, and you take responsibility for aligning them with the divine vision within you. This is not a burden but a privilege, for it allows you to co-create with God the life you were meant to live. When you truly embrace this truth, prayer takes on a new meaning. It is no longer a desperate plea to an external deity, but a loving conversation with the divine presence within. You speak to God as you would to a trusted friend, knowing that He hears you because He is a part of you. And when you listen in return, you hear His guidance, not in words but in the quiet convictions of your heart. The realization that God dwells within you is the key to unlocking the fullness of life. It transforms the way you see yourself, others, and the world around you. You begin to recognize the divine not only within yourself, but in everyone and everything. This awareness fosters compassion, gratitude, and a deep sense of purpose. So today, remember this truth: God is not distant or separate from you. He is the essence of your being, the source of your imagination, and the power behind your every prayer. To call on Him is to awaken to this divine presence within, to align yourself with His will, and to live in the joy of His infinite love. Faith is the bridge that connects your desires to their fulfillment, the invisible thread that links the seen and the unseen, the physical and the spiritual. When you call on God, it is faith that activates the process, breathing life into your words and thoughts. Without faith, your call is empty, a hollow sound that dissipates in the vastness of doubt. But with faith, even the smallest whisper carries the weight of the divine, setting into motion forces that work tirelessly to bring your desires into reality. Faith is not hope, nor is it wishful thinking. Hope looks forward, but faith declares that the future is already here. Faith does not waver or question. It knows with absolute certainty that what has been asked for is already granted. This certainty is not dependent on what the eyes see or what the ears hear. Faith moves beyond the physical senses and rests in the conviction of the unseen. It is the assurance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. When you call on God, you are not making a request to a distant power. You are affirming that the power of creation itself is already at work within you. Faith is the force that ignites this power, transforming a simple call into a divine command. It is not about begging or pleading, it is about claiming and believing. When you have faith, you are not asking if something is possible, you are declaring that it is already done. This activation of faith begins within your mind. Every thought carries energy, and thoughts born of faith carry the highest vibration. When you align your thoughts with what you desire and believe it to be true, you align yourself with the divine will. This alignment is what activates your call. It is not about forcing or controlling the outcome, it is about trusting the process and allowing the divine to work through you. Doubt, on the other hand, is the enemy of faith. It is the silent thief that undermines your call and delays your blessings. Doubt arises when you rely too heavily on external circumstances, when you allow what you see to dictate what you believe. But faith moves in the opposite direction. It begins with belief, independent of external evidence, and reshapes the world to match that belief. To activate your call through faith, you must let go of doubt and trust that the divine is already at work, even if you cannot yet see the results. Faith is not passive, it requires action. This action is not necessarily physical but mental and emotional. It is the act of maintaining your belief even when circumstances seem contrary. It is the act of imagining your desire as fulfilled, feeling the emotions of joy and gratitude as if it has already happened. These acts of faith are what sustain the power of your call and keep it alive until the unseen becomes seen. Gratitude is a natural extension of faith. When you give thanks for something before it manifests, you are expressing your belief that it is already done. This gratitude is a powerful force, amplifying your faith and reinforcing your call. It shifts your focus from lack to abundance, from waiting to receiving. Gratitude is the language of faith, and when you speak it, you affirm that your call has been heard and answered. Faith also requires persistence. The fulfillment of your call may not come immediately, and this is where many falter. They give up too soon, allowing doubt to creep in and dismantle their belief. But faith persists, holding steadfast even in the face of delay. It trusts in the timing of the divine, knowing that what is meant to be will unfold perfectly, at the right time and in the right way. Persistence in faith is not about forcing the outcome, but about staying aligned with the belief that it is already yours. Calling on God with faith is an act of co-creation. You are not waiting passively for something to happen, you are an active participant in the process. Your thoughts, emotions, and beliefs shape the outcome, just as a potter shapes clay. Faith is the tool that molds the unseen into form, turning your desires into tangible reality. It is through faith that you exercise the creative power of the divine within you, bringing your vision to life. Faith is deeply personal. It cannot be borrowed from others or imposed upon you. It is something you cultivate within yourself through reflection, practice, and experience. Each time you act in faith and see your call answered, your belief grows stronger. This inner growth is the foundation of a life lived in harmony with the divine. To call on God with faith is to step into a state of absolute trust and certainty. It is to recognize that the power of creation is already at work within you, responding to your thoughts, your words, and your feelings. It is to know that you are not separate from the divine, but an integral part of its infinite expression. Faith is the key that unlocks the door to this realization, allowing you to access the fullness of your potential. So when you call on God, do so with faith. Do not let doubt or fear weaken your call. Stand firm in your belief, knowing that what you seek is already yours. Trust in the process, give thanks in advance, and persist in your faith. The divine hears your call, and through faith, you activate the limitless power within you to bring it to life. The imagination is far more than a tool for fleeting daydreams or idle fantasies. It is the sacred gateway to the divine, the bridge between the seen and the unseen, the doorway through which creation flows. When you engage your imagination, you tap into the infinite power within you, the power to shape your reality, transform your circumstances, and call into existence the life you desire. The imagination is not a mere faculty of the mind, it is the very mechanism by which the divine expresses itself through you. When you close your eyes and envision something, you are not simply picturing an image in your mind. You are engaging the creative force that has brought everything into existence. The mountains, the stars, the oceans, all of these began in the imagination of the Creator, and you, made in His image, possess the same divine ability. Every thought you vividly imagine and consistently dwell upon sets into motion unseen forces, aligning the universe to bring that thought into reality. Your imagination is not bound by the limitations of the physical world. It is a realm of pure potential, where time and space hold no sway. In your imagination, you are free to explore the infinite, to see beyond what your physical senses reveal. This freedom is your greatest gift, for it allows you to transcend the constraints of your current circumstances and step into the life you wish to create. The key is to recognize that what you imagine with conviction and emotional intensity is not merely a vision of what could be, it is a preview of what is already real in the unseen realm. Doubt often arises when the physical world appears unchanged despite your inner vision. But the imagination operates in a realm beyond the physical, and its effects may not always be immediately visible. Just as seeds planted in the soil take time to sprout and grow, the seeds you plant in your imagination require faith and persistence to bear fruit. It is not your job to question how or when your vision will manifest. Your role is simply to trust in the process and remain steadfast in your imagination. Your emotions are the fuel that powers your imagination. When you imagine something with indifference or skepticism, the energy behind it is weak and its chances of manifesting diminish. But when you imagine with excitement, gratitude, and unwavering belief, you infuse your vision with the energy it needs to take form. Feel the joy of having what you desire, the peace of being where you want to be, and the gratitude for all that you have created. These emotions elevate your imagination to a level where it becomes a powerful force for change. Many underestimate the imagination, dismissing it as mere fantasy. But the world you see around you is the result of someone's imagination. Every invention, every work of art, every achievement began as a thought, a vision in someone's mind. What sets those who create extraordinary lives apart is their willingness to believe in the power of their imagination and to act upon it with conviction. They understand that the imagination is not a passive force, but an active gateway to transformation. When challenges arise, it is easy to fall back into patterns of fear, doubt, and limitation. But these moments are when your imagination becomes most important. Instead of focusing on the problem, use your imagination to see the solution. Instead of dwelling on what is lacking, imagine abundance. Instead of replaying the story of your failures, envision your triumphs. Your imagination allows you to rewrite the narrative of your life, to see yourself not as a victim of circumstance, but as the creator of your destiny. This power of imagination is not reserved for a select few. It is inherent in everyone, a divine gift that lies dormant until you choose to awaken it. The only difference between those who live extraordinary lives and those who do not is the willingness to use this gift consciously. When you realize that your imagination is the gateway to all that you desire, you begin to approach life with a sense of wonder and possibility. No longer do you see obstacles as insurmountable, you see them as opportunities to expand your vision and deepen your faith. The imagination requires practice to reach its full potential. Like any skill, it becomes stronger and more effective the more you use it. Begin by setting aside time each day to engage your imagination deliberately. Close your eyes and picture the life you want to live. See it in vivid detail, as though it were already real. Feel the emotions associated with that life, the joy, the gratitude, the peace. The more you practice, the more natural this process will become, and the more powerfully your imagination will work on your behalf. To speak from the end is to step into the world of creation with a profound understanding of its nature. It is the act of claiming what you desire as though it has already come to pass, of living in the state of fulfillment before it appears in your external reality. This principle is not rooted in wishful thinking or pretense, but in the recognition that everything begins and ends within you. The moment you imagine your desire as fulfilled, you bring it into being. The only question is whether you will persist in that conviction long enough for it to manifest in the physical world. When you speak from the end, you align yourself with the truth that creation is finished. All possibilities already exist, waiting for you to call them into your experience through your thoughts, feelings, and words. You are not asking for something to be done, you are affirming that it is done. This shift in perspective transforms your relationship with life, placing you in the position of authority rather than one of lack or need. Speaking from the end is an act of faith, a declaration that you trust the unseen to become seen. Many struggle with this concept because they are conditioned to rely on their senses. They look at their current circumstances and see evidence of lack, limitation, or delay. But to speak from the end is to rise above the evidence of the senses and operate from a higher truth. It is to declare, I am wealthy even when your bank account suggests otherwise. It is to say, I am loved even when you feel alone. By speaking from the end, you assert that your inner reality determines your outer reality, not the other way around. This practice requires more than words. It demands that you embody the feeling of your desire as already fulfilled. Words alone, if empty of conviction, lack the power to create. But when your words are infused with emotion and belief, they become a force that shapes reality. To say I am and truly feel it is to call forth the essence of what you declare. The feeling is the secret, it is the energy that bridges the gap between imagination and manifestation. Speaking from the end is not about ignoring reality or denying the present. It is about transcending it. Your present circumstances are not the final word on your life, they are merely a reflection of past thoughts and beliefs. To change them, you must first change your inner state. By speaking from the end, you align your mind and emotions with the reality you wish to create, allowing it to unfold naturally in your experience. Doubt often arises when you do not see immediate results. But this is where persistence comes into play. Creation follows a process, and the timing of manifestation is not always predictable. Just as a seed takes time to grow into a tree, your desires require patience and faith to come to fruition. When you speak from the end, you must remain steadfast, even in the face of delay or opposition. Trust that what you have claimed is already on its way, and do not waver in your conviction. Gratitude is a powerful companion to speaking from the end. When you give thanks for something as though it has already been received, you reinforce your belief in its reality. Gratitude shifts your focus from lack to abundance, from waiting to receiving. It creates a sense of certainty and joy that aligns you with the fulfillment of your desire. By expressing gratitude in advance, you accelerate the process of manifestation and deepen your connection to the end result. Silence is often overlooked in a world filled with constant noise, distractions, and the perpetual hum of activity. Yet, in the quiet, profound things occur, things that cannot be understood by the senses, only experienced in stillness. Silence is not merely the absence of sound, but the presence of a sacred channel through which divine insight, creativity, and manifestation flow. It is within this silence that we connect to the deepest parts of ourselves, and through it, we align with the larger forces of the universe. This sacred channel of silence is also a space of creation. When we are caught in the noise of daily life, we are often too distracted to recognize the desires of our heart. We may find ourselves pursuing goals or making decisions based on external pressures or societal expectations rather than following our true path. But in silence, we reconnect with our innermost desires. We are able to hear the calling of our soul, to discern what truly matters, and to align our actions with our purpose. In this quiet space, we create the blueprint of our future, not by striving or pushing, but by allowing the vision to unfold naturally from within. It is within the sacred silence that we also come to realize our inherent power. The world often encourages us to look outside of ourselves for validation or answers, but true strength is found within. Silence allows us to recognize that we are not separate from the universe, we are an integral part of it. In this stillness, we experience the interconnectedness of all things, the flow of energy that connects us to everything around us. It is in the quiet that we tap into the divine wisdom that exists within us and recognize that we are always supported by the universe. even when we cannot see the path ahead. When practiced consistently, also cultivates peace. In a world that often feels chaotic and turbulent, silence acts as an anchor, grounding us in a space of calm. It is easy to become swept up in the noise of the world, its demands, its fears, its distractions. But silence reminds us that peace is always available to us, regardless of external circumstances. When we create space for silence, we reconnect with the part of ourselves that is already whole, already at peace, and able to navigate the storms of life with equanimity. Silence invites us to be present. In a world obsessed with the future and the past, we often forget to fully experience the present moment. We may be physically present, but mentally absent, lost in thoughts about what has happened or what might come. Silence calls us back to the present, to the now. It invites us to be fully aware of the sensations, feelings and thoughts that arise in this moment, without judgment or distraction. Through silence, we cultivate mindfulness, learning to live in the moment and experience life as it unfolds, rather than constantly chasing after the next thing. Silence invites us into a state of surrender. We live in a culture that values control, action, and doing. But silence teaches us that sometimes the greatest power lies in letting go. In the silence, we release the need to control every aspect of our lives, to plan every detail, and to force outcomes. We surrender to the flow of life, trusting that the universe has a plan for us, even when we cannot see it. This surrender does not mean passivity, rather, it is a surrender to the wisdom of the universe, a recognition that we are co-creators with the divine. To embrace silence is to open the door to profound transformation. It is a space where the noise of the world fades away and the truth of who we are rises to the surface. Silence is a sacred channel that connects us to the divine, to our inner wisdom, and to the flow of creation itself. In this space of stillness we find clarity, peace, purpose, and power. It is in silence that we hear the whispers of our heart and the guidance of the universe. And it is in silence that we come to know the profound truth that everything we seek is already within us. Gratitude is a powerful force that can transform your life in ways you might not fully comprehend at first. It is not just a polite gesture or a social nicety, it is a profound tool for creating positive change in your internal world and consequently in your external circumstances. When you adopt gratitude as a way of being, it opens the door to abundance, joy, and fulfillment. It shifts your focus from what you lack to what you already have, and this shift in perspective changes everything. At its core, gratitude is the recognition of the goodness that already exists in your life. It's not about waiting for circumstances to improve or for external situations to change. It's about tuning into the present moment and acknowledging the blessings, big and small, that are already around you. Often we become so focused on our desires and unmet needs that we overlook the many ways in which we are already supported, loved, and cared for. Gratitude reminds us to stop and look at the present moment, to appreciate what we have, and to honor the beauty that already exists in our lives. When you practice gratitude, you are choosing to shift your mindset from one of lack to one of abundance. In our society, we are often taught to focus on what we don't have, what we need, and what is missing from our lives. This mindset keeps us trapped in a cycle of dissatisfaction and longing, never feeling truly content with what we have. But when you make gratitude a habit, you start to notice the abundance that already surrounds you. You realize that you are already rich in so many ways, in your relationships, in your health, in your opportunities, and in your capacity for joy. This recognition brings peace to your heart and opens the door for more good to enter your life. Gratitude also serves as a powerful tool for reprogramming your subconscious mind. The thoughts we entertain on a daily basis shape our reality, and when we focus on the things we are grateful for, we align ourselves with positive energy and vibrations. Our minds begin to recognize the good that is constantly available to us, and this reinforces the feeling of abundance. Gratitude shifts our attention away from negativity and fear, replacing those low vibration states with higher energies that attract more positive experiences. When you focus on gratitude, you begin to magnetize more of the same into your life. What you appreciate, appreciates. One of the most transformative aspects of gratitude is its ability to bring healing. Life can be challenging, and it's easy to become consumed by pain, disappointment, or loss. However, when you practice gratitude, you begin to see that even in the midst of hardship, there are things to be grateful for. Gratitude helps you find meaning in your struggles and teaches you to look for the lessons in every experience. It opens your heart to forgiveness, both yourself and others, and allows you to release resentment, fear, and anger. When you choose gratitude, you choose healing over hurt, growth over stagnation, and love over fear. Gratitude also strengthens your relationships. When you express gratitude to the people in your life, you not only make them feel valued, but you also strengthen the bond between you. Gratitude is a powerful form of acknowledgement. It shows others that you see and appreciate them for who they are and what they bring into your life. It also deepens your connection with yourself as you begin to recognize the support, care, and love you have received from others. Practicing gratitude opens the lines of communication and creates an atmosphere of mutual respect and appreciation. When gratitude is present in a relationship, it fosters trust, love, and understanding. Gratitude allows you to embrace the present moment fully. We often spend so much time worrying about the future or ruminating over the past that we miss the beauty of the present. But when we take time each day to reflect on what we are grateful for, we become more attuned to the here and now. Gratitude forces us to slow down and take stock of the blessings in our lives, no matter how small they may seem. Whether it's the warmth of the sun on your face, a kind word from a friend, or the comfort of a home, gratitude brings us into the present moment and allows us to savor life's simple joys. When you are grateful, you also invite more joy into your life. Gratitude is closely linked with happiness because it is an active form of appreciation. The more you focus on what is good in your life, the more you attract joy and positive energy. It lifts your mood and encourages a mindset of possibility rather than limitation. When you express gratitude, you open your heart to the experience of joy, and this joy becomes a magnet for more joyful experiences. It shifts your energy from scarcity to abundance, and in that shift you begin to notice how much more you have to be thankful for. A deep sense of gratitude can also be a key to resilience. Life is not without its difficulties, and there are times when we face challenges that feel overwhelming. However, gratitude provides the strength and perspective needed to endure those difficult times. When you can still find something to be grateful for, even in the face of adversity, you tap into a source of inner strength. Gratitude becomes a source of power that allows you to rise above your circumstances and find peace, even in the midst of chaos. It shifts your focus from what is wrong to what is right, empowering you to face challenges with courage and optimism. Gratitude is not just something to be practiced in moments of ease, it is something that can be cultivated even during times of difficulty. It is a choice, and like any choice, it takes practice. But when gratitude becomes a daily habit, it transforms your life. It rewires your brain to focus on the good, increases your emotional well-being, and aligns you with abundance. The more you practice gratitude, the more you recognize how much there is to be thankful for, and the more your life begins to reflect that abundance. Gratitude is truly the key that unlocks the door to a richer, more fulfilling life, and it is always within your reach. All it requires is your willingness to recognize and appreciate the goodness that is already present. Persistence is a force that can break through barriers, shatter limitations, and transform dreams into reality. It is the key that unlocks the door to success, growth, and personal fulfillment. Life is filled with challenges, setbacks, and moments of doubt, but it is persistence, the unwavering commitment to keep going, that separates those who achieve greatness from those who fall short. When you persist, you send a message to the universe that you are not easily deterred, that you are willing to push through difficulty and remain steadfast in your pursuit of what you desire. Persistence requires resilience. It is the ability to keep moving forward even when progress seems slow or non-existent. Every person who has ever achieved something significant has encountered obstacles along the way. The road to success is not linear, and it is not without its bumps. Yet it is the person who persists through adversity that finds the breakthroughs and triumphs that others might only dream of. In every challenge lies an opportunity to grow stronger, wiser, and more capable, and persistence is what gives you the strength to rise after every fall. One of the greatest aspects of persistence is that it builds character. It teaches you to stand firm in the face of uncertainty and to trust in your own abilities, even when the outcome is unclear. Every time you push through a difficult situation, you build confidence and self-belief. You begin to understand that success is not defined by how many times you fall, but by how many times you get back up. Each failure, each setback is an opportunity to learn, to adjust your approach, and to become better. Persistence is the tool that allows you to refine your skills, improve your strategies, and continue moving forward, even when the world seems to be working against you. Persistence also fosters patience. In a world that values instant gratification, it is easy to become discouraged when things don't happen quickly. We want results now, and when those results don't come right away, frustration sets in. But persistence teaches us that success is often a slow and steady process. It teaches us to trust that the effort we put in today will yield results in the future. Just as a seed requires time, water, and care to grow into a tree, so too does our hard work need time to bear fruit. Through persistence, we learn the art of patience, the understanding that true success comes to those who are willing to stay the course and allow things to unfold naturally. Persistence is also an act of faith. When you persist in your goals, you are demonstrating trust in the process. You may not see immediate results, but you continue anyway because you believe in the outcome. It requires a deep belief that your efforts will pay off in the end, even when the evidence suggests otherwise. This faith is a powerful force as it enables you to overcome doubts, fears, and discouragement. The act of persistence is itself a form of self-assurance, a reminder that the work you are doing is not in vain. And when you persist with unwavering faith, the universe aligns itself with your efforts, gradually opening doors that were once closed. When you are persistent, you create momentum. The initial steps toward any goal can often feel like the hardest. The first attempts may seem slow and laborious, but with each action you take, you gain more energy and confidence. Persistence builds upon itself, and the more you persist, the more progress you make. Even if the progress is not immediately visible, it is accumulating in ways you might not yet realize. Just as the steady drip of water can eventually carve through rock, your consistent efforts, no matter how small they may seem, are slowly but surely making an impact. Momentum is created by persistence, and momentum makes the journey easier. Another powerful element of persistence is its ability to unlock creativity. When faced with challenges, the easy route is to give up, to abandon the pursuit, and to walk away. However, when you choose persistence, you activate your creative potential. When the standard path is blocked, persistence pushes you to look for alternative routes, to think outside the box, and to innovate. It challenges you to find solutions where none seem to exist and to stay open to new ideas. Every time you encounter an obstacle and refuse to give up, you are honing your problem-solving skills and expanding your ability to navigate the unexpected. Persistence unlocks your creativity because it forces you to stretch beyond your comfort zone and tap into the deeper resources within you. At its core, persistence is also a reflection of your belief in your vision. When you are persistent, you are demonstrating that you believe in the outcome so deeply that you are willing to face any difficulty to achieve it. It is the strength of this belief that fuels your persistence. If your goals were not truly important to you, you would not keep pushing forward in the face of adversity. But when you are deeply connected to your vision, when it resonates with your soul, persistence becomes the natural response. You keep going because you are driven by a sense of purpose, knowing that what you are working toward will bring meaning and fulfillment to your life. Persistence also teaches you to take responsibility for your own success. In the face of challenges, it is easy to fall into a victim mindset, to blame external circumstances or other people for your lack of progress. However, Persistence calls you to take full ownership of your journey. It reminds you that you have the power to choose how you respond to obstacles and setbacks. Your success is in your hands, and it is up to you to continue moving forward, regardless of the difficulties you may face. With persistence, you empower yourself to control your destiny and to remain focused on your goals, no matter the challenges that arise. Persistence opens the door to everything you desire. It is the key that unlocks the possibilities that are hidden behind the walls of fear, doubt, and resistance. It is the force that propels you toward the life you have always dreamed of, the life that you deserve. By embracing persistence, you give yourself the gift of never giving up, of always moving forward, and of knowing that no matter how many obstacles you face, you will ultimately find your way to the other side. Through persistence, the door to your success is always open, waiting for you to walk through it. Calling on God is not just a plea for help or a desperate cry in times of need. It is, at its core, a recognition of your divine inheritance, a powerful affirmation of the rights that are inherently yours as a child of the Creator. It is an acknowledgement that you are not separate from the divine, but a direct expression of it. When you call on God, you are not only seeking assistance or guidance, you are claiming the very truth of your existence, the truth that you are always supported, always loved, and always connected to the infinite power that sustains all life. At the heart of this calling is the understanding that God is within you, always present, always accessible. Many people perceive God as an external force, something distant and separate from them. But the truth is, God dwells within you. The divine spark that created the universe is the same spark that animates your body, that drives your thoughts, that fuels your desires. When you call on God, you are essentially calling on the deepest part of yourself, the part that knows no limitation, no fear, and no doubt. You are awakening the divine potential within, and in doing so, you are claiming the right to live a life of abundance, peace, and purpose. When you truly grasp the concept of your divine right, calling on God becomes an act of empowerment. It is no longer about pleading for something you feel you lack. Instead, it is about stepping into the fullness of who you are and recognizing the abundance that is already yours. This is the essence of faith, believing that what you need is already provided, that the desires of your heart are already on their way, and that you have the right to receive them. Calling on God is a declaration that you are ready to receive your good, that you are willing to align yourself with the divine flow of life, and that you trust in the process of manifestation. The act of calling on God is also an invitation to experience divine guidance and wisdom. In the quiet moments when you seek God's presence, you are opening yourself up to receive the answers that you need. Too often, we are caught up in the noise of the world, trying to figure everything out on our own, relying on our intellect and our limited understanding. But when you call on God, you surrender the need to control everything and allow the divine wisdom to guide you. You claim the right to live with clarity, to make decisions with confidence, and to trust that the answers you seek are already available to you. This guidance is not always immediate or in the form you expect, but it is always present, waiting for you to listen with an open heart and mind. Calling on God is a process of aligning yourself with your higher purpose. Each of us is born with a unique set of gifts, talents, and a specific mission in this life. Yet many people go through life without fully understanding their purpose or how to align their actions with it. By calling on God, you are reaffirming your connection to the divine plan for your life. You are claiming the right to live in harmony with your soul's purpose, to move forward in the direction that brings fulfillment and joy. It is through this alignment that you find true satisfaction, not in external accomplishments or possessions, but in the deep knowing that you are living authentically and in harmony with your true self. One of the most profound aspects of calling on God is the recognition that you are never alone. Life can sometimes feel isolating, as if you are carrying the weight of the world on your shoulders. But in those moments, calling on God serves as a reminder that you are never disconnected from the divine source. You are part of a larger, interconnected whole, and the support of the divine is always available to you. You can call on God in times of joy or sorrow, in moments of confusion or clarity, and know that you are met with love, grace, and unwavering presence. This realization brings comfort and peace, knowing that you are always supported in every moment. The process of calling on God is also deeply transformative. It is through this act of surrender and invocation that you begin to change from the inside out. As you call on the divine, you align yourself with the highest version of yourself, and you allow that version to express through you. This alignment with the divine creates a shift in your energy, your mindset, and your behavior. You begin to see the world differently, approaching each situation with more compassion, more patience, and more understanding. Your relationships improve, your mindset shifts toward abundance, and your life becomes a reflection of the divine qualities that are now flowing through you. Calling on God is an expression of faith, trust, and the recognition of your divine inheritance. It is an acknowledgement that you are never separate from the Creator, but an integral part of the divine tapestry that is constantly unfolding. When you call on God, you are claiming your right to abundance, guidance, love, and support. You are stepping into the fullness of your power and purpose, and you are inviting the divine to work through you in every aspect of your life. By calling on God, you are affirming that you are worthy, that you are supported, and that you are ready to receive all the blessings the universe has to offer. In conclusion, calling on God is not just a request for assistance, it is a powerful affirmation of your divine right to live a life of abundance, peace, and purpose. It is the recognition that you are a direct expression of the divine, connected to an infinite source of wisdom, love, and guidance. When you call on God, you are claiming the fullness of your being and aligning yourself with your higher purpose. You are trusting in the divine flow of life, surrendering the need to control, and allowing grace to guide you. Through this connection, you find the strength to overcome obstacles, the clarity to make decisions, and the courage to step into the life you were always meant to live. Remember, calling on God is an act of empowerment. It is the realization that you are never alone, that you are always supported, and that you are worthy of every blessing that comes your way. Trust in this divine connection and watch as your life unfolds with miracles, synchronicities, and opportunities that lead you to your highest good. Thank you for taking the time to listen and reflect on these words. May you always remember that you are divinely supported, and that when you call on God, you are claiming the full expression of your highest self. Let us begin with a truth that often goes unnoticed. Life does not happen to us, it happens through us. The world you see, the circumstances you face, and the life you lead are not imposed upon you, they are reflections of what you carry within. When I realized this, everything changed. Today I want to share 5 transformative habits that reshaped my existence. They may seem simple, but their impact is profound. In the quiet recesses of your mind lies a force so powerful, it shapes the very fabric of your existence. This force is your inner conversation, the ceaseless dialogue you hold with yourself day in and day out. Many people overlook it, dismissing it as mere thoughts or fleeting whispers, yet it is the architect of your reality. Every word, every feeling, and every belief you silently entertain within yourself is creating the world you experience. To understand the power of inner conversations is to grasp the key to transforming your life. Your inner dialogue is not idle chatter. It is the blueprint of your destiny, what you continuously affirm to yourself, whether consciously or unconsciously, manifests as the circumstances of your life. If you often think, "I am not good enough," the world will echo this sentiment, presenting situations and people that reinforce your belief. Conversely, if your inner speech is filled with confidence and conviction, saying, "I am deserving of the best," life will reflect that, providing opportunities and blessings in alignment with this truth. To grasp the magnitude of this, consider the principle of self-concept. The way you see yourself determines what you allow into your life. If you believe yourself to be capable, worthy, and abundant, you open the door to those experiences. Your inner conversation acts as a guard at this door, filtering what can and cannot enter. This is why mastering the dialogue within is paramount. It is the key to shifting your self-concept, and by extension, your reality. But why does this inner dialogue have such power? The answer lies in the fact that your subconscious mind is always listening. It takes every word, every feeling, and every thought you impress upon it, and works tirelessly to bring it to fruition. The subconscious does not argue, debate, or question. It accepts as truth whatever you repeatedly tell it. If your inner speech is filled with complaints, doubts, and fears, the subconscious will faithfully reproduce these in your life. But if you affirm positivity, success, and joy, it will just as faithfully bring those into being. The good news is that you have the ability to change your inner conversation at any moment. You are not bound by the scripts of your past. The stories you tell yourself today have the power to overwrite the ones that no longer serve you. This requires deliberate effort and awareness. Begin by observing your inner speech. What are you telling yourself in moments of quiet? Are your thoughts aligned with the life you want to create, or are they sabotaging your desires? This simple act of observation can reveal patterns that you might not have been aware of before. Once you become conscious of your inner dialogue, the next step is to take control of it. This is not about forcing yourself into blind positivity, but about intentionally directing your thoughts in alignment with your goals and aspirations. Let's start by affirming what you wish to be true. If you desire confidence, repeatedly tell yourself, "I am confident, I am capable, I am strong." Say it not as a wish, but as a fact. The words must carry conviction, because your subconscious responds to the feeling behind the words, not just the words themselves. The power of inner conversations also lies in their persistence. It is not enough to affirm something once and expect miraculous change. Your inner speech must become a habit, a consistent thread running through your daily life. This is not as difficult as it may seem. Every moment you catch yourself slipping into negative or limiting thoughts, replace them with affirmations of your desired state. Over time, this practice becomes second nature, and your subconscious begins to reflect these new patterns. It is important to note that your inner conversation does not operate in isolation. It is deeply intertwined with your emotions and beliefs. Words spoken without feeling or belief carry little weight. This is why imagination and visualization are powerful companions to your inner dialogue. When you affirm something, pair it with a vivid mental image of that truth. For instance, if you are affirming abundance, imagine yourself living in that state, perhaps walking through your dream home, enjoying financial freedom, or feeling the deep peace that comes with security. By doing this, you impress the idea more deeply into your subconscious. Resistance is a common challenge in mastering inner conversations. Doubts may arise, especially if your current reality seems far removed from what you are affirming. This is where persistence becomes critical. Remember that your current circumstances are the result of past inner conversations. They are not permanent. By continuing to affirm your desired state, you are planting new seeds that will eventually blossom, replacing the old. Another crucial aspect of inner conversations is how they shape your interactions with the world. Your inner dialogue influences how you perceive others and how you respond to them. If you habitually think negatively about people or situations, you are likely to encounter more negativity in return. But if you choose to see the good, to affirm harmony and understanding, you will find your relationships transforming for the better. The transformation brought about by mastering your inner conversation is not limited to one area of life. It touches everything: your health, your relationships, your career, and your sense of purpose. When you take control of your inner dialogue, you reclaim your power as the creator of your life. You are no longer at the mercy of circumstances or other people. Instead, you become the deliberate architect of your experience, shaping your world with every thought and word. Inner conversations are the bridge between your inner world and the outer world. They are the silent force that governs what you attract, what you repel, and what you become. To master them is to master your life. Life from the end is to dwell mentally in the state of your fulfilled desire, as though it were already a fact. It is a practice of seeing the world not as it is, but as you wish it to be. This approach is not about daydreaming or wishful thinking. It is about assuming the feeling of your wish fulfilled and living in harmony with that reality until it hardens into fact. At its core, living from the end is about alignment. It requires aligning your thoughts, feelings, and actions with the life you desire to create. The principle is simple yet profound. You must be the person who already possesses what you seek. If you desire love, you must live as though you are already deeply loved. If you desire abundance, you must carry yourself with the confidence and ease of one who is financially free. This alignment is not about pretending or deceiving yourself. It is about embodying the truth of your desired state so completely that it becomes inevitable. One of the greatest challenges in living from the end is transcending the evidence of the senses. The physical world constantly presents you with facts that may contradict your desires. Perhaps your bank account shows a balance far removed from abundance, or your current circumstances seem devoid of love, success, or health. Yet, to live from the end is to rise above these appearances. It is to understand that the outer world is but a shadow of your inner state. What you see now is merely the result of past thinking. To change your reality, you must first change your inner world. Living from the end is not a passive state. It is an active, deliberate practice. It begins in the mind with the power of imagination. Close your eyes and create a vivid mental picture of your fulfilled desire. See yourself in the scene of your ideal life. What do you see? What do you hear? What do you feel? Engage all your senses to make the experience as real as possible. For example, if your desire is to own a home, imagine yourself walking through its rooms, feeling the textures of the walls, hearing the echoes of your footsteps, and smelling the fresh paint. The more vivid and detailed your imagination, the more effectively you impress this vision upon your subconscious mind. But imagination alone is not enough. It must be accompanied by feeling. Feeling is the secret ingredient that gives life to your mental picture. Ask yourself, how would I feel if my desire were fulfilled? Would you feel joy, peace, gratitude, or relief? Whatever the emotion, allow yourself to experience it fully in the present moment. This feeling is not a reaction to external circumstances, but an internal state that you generate. By consistently feeling the emotions of your fulfilled desire, you condition your subconscious to accept this reality as true. Living from the end also requires a deep trust in the unseen. You may not know how or when your desire will manifest, and that is perfectly fine. The how is not your concern. It is the domain of infinite intelligence, the creative power that governs the universe. Your role is to assume the end, to dwell in the state of your fulfilled desire, and to trust that the path will reveal itself. This trust is not a blind faith, but a knowing, a conviction that the unseen forces of life are working in your favor. Another important aspect of living from the end is consistency. You cannot waver between the state of fulfillment and the state of lack. Doing so sends mixed signals to your subconscious and delays the manifestation of your desire. Instead, make a firm decision to live from the end, regardless of external appearances. This does not mean denying reality or ignoring your current responsibilities. It means holding steadfastly to your vision and aligning your inner state with it at all times. Living from the end also transforms the way you interact with the world. When you carry yourself as someone who already possesses what they desire, you exude a sense of confidence and assurance that others can feel. This energy attracts opportunities, relationships, and circumstances that align with your vision. People respond to the state you embody, often without even realizing it. By living from the end, you become a magnet for the very things you seek. There is also a profound sense of peace that comes with this practice. When you live from the end, you no longer feel the need to struggle, chase, or force outcomes. You know that your desire is already yours, and you rest in that knowing. This does not mean you sit idle. On the contrary, you take inspired action that aligns with your vision. But these actions come from a place of confidence and flow, not desperation or fear. As you continue to live from the end, you may notice subtle changes in your life. Opportunities arise seemingly out of nowhere, obstacles dissolve, and people begin to treat you differently. These are not coincidences. They are the natural result of your inner shift. The world is a mirror, and as you change within, the reflection must change as well. The beauty of living from the end is that it places the power firmly in your hands. You are no longer a victim of circumstance, reacting to life as it unfolds. Instead, you become the creator of your experience, shaping your reality with every thought, feeling, and action. This realization is liberating. It reminds you that you are not at the mercy of life, you are the master of it. Gratitude is more than a fleeting emotion or a polite thank you in passing. It is a transformative state of being, a way of seeing the world through the lens of abundance rather than lack. Practicing daily gratitude opens a doorway to a richer, fuller life. It shifts your focus from what you don't have to what you do, from what is missing to what is already present. Gratitude, when cultivated consistently, becomes a powerful force that shapes your reality, harmonizing your inner state with the limitless blessings of the universe. To begin with, gratitude transforms perception. What you focus on grows in your awareness. When you deliberately practice gratitude, you train your mind to see the good in every situation, no matter how small or seemingly insignificant. This practice rewires your brain, creating new neural pathways that make positivity your default perspective. Imagine waking each morning with a heart full of thanks for simply being alive. The air you breathe, the light streaming through your window, the sound of birds outside, these are not mere details, they are gifts. When you start your day with this mindset, you set the tone for positivity to flow through everything you do. Daily gratitude is also a form of acknowledgement. It recognizes the interconnectedness of life and the countless ways in which you are supported. From the food on your table to the people who enrich your life, gratitude is a way of saying, I see the abundance around me and I honor it. This acknowledgement not only deepens your appreciation but also strengthens your connection to the source of all creation, reinforcing the flow of blessings into your life. The act of expressing gratitude is equally transformative. Whether you write it down in a journal, speak it aloud, or silently reflect, the practice anchors you in the present moment. Gratitude pulls you out of the endless cycle of worry about the future or regret over the past. It grounds you in the now, where all your power resides. In this moment, as you give thanks, you align yourself with the vibration of abundance, creating a ripple effect that touches every area of your life. One of the most profound aspects of gratitude is its ability to transform challenges into opportunities. Life is not without its trials, but even in adversity, there is something to be grateful for. Challenges often carry hidden lessons, pushing you to grow, to reevaluate, and to rise stronger than before. Gratitude in these moments is not about denying the difficulty, but about finding the silver lining, the strength, the resilience, the clarity that arises from the storm. By being grateful for the lessons, you transcend the pain and align yourself with the wisdom it brings. Daily gratitude also impacts your relationships. When you consistently express appreciation for the people in your life, you strengthen the bonds that connect you. Gratitude shifts your focus from their flaws to their gifts, fostering empathy and understanding. So, imagine the impact of telling someone, I'm so grateful for how you support me, or thank you for being a part of my life. These simple words can deepen trust, heal rifts, and nurture love in ways that are truly profound. On a larger scale, gratitude amplifies manifestation. When you express thanks for what you already have, you signal to the universe that you are ready to receive more. Gratitude is like a magnet, it attracts more of what you appreciate. By focusing on your blessings, you create an energetic state that draws similar vibrations into your life. Now, this is not merely a spiritual concept, but a psychological truth. When you focus on abundance, you notice more opportunities, act with greater confidence, and make choices that align with your desired reality. The beauty of daily gratitude lies in its simplicity. You don't need elaborate rituals or grand gestures to practice it. Begin with small moments. Thank your body for carrying you through the day. Appreciate the warmth of your morning coffee, or cherish the kind words of a friend. As you make gratitude a habit, you'll find it spilling over into all aspects of your life. It becomes second nature, a steady undercurrent of appreciation that colors every thought and action. Gratitude also nurtures inner peace. When you focus on what you have rather than what you lack, you free yourself from the grip of comparison and envy. Gratitude dissolves the need for external validation, replacing it with a sense of contentment and self-assurance. You no longer measure your worth by what others possess, because you recognize the unique blessings in your own life. This inner peace radiates outward, influencing how you interact with the world and inviting more harmony into your experience. Even in the darkest moments, gratitude can be your anchor. It is the light that guides you through uncertainty, the compass that keeps you aligned with your true self. When life feels overwhelming, take a moment to pause and reflect, what can I be grateful for right now? It might be as simple as the breath in your lungs or the hope that sustains you. This shift in focus can bring clarity and calm, reminding you that even in chaos, there is something to hold on to. As you cultivate daily gratitude, you may find your heart expanding. Gratitude opens you to the fullness of life, revealing beauty and abundance in places you once overlooked. It creates a sense of wholeness, a recognition that you are supported, guided, and blessed in ways both seen and unseen. This is the power of gratitude. It not only transforms your inner world, but also shapes the outer reality to reflect the abundance you carry within. Imagination is the workshop of creation. It is the invisible force that shapes your reality, the bridge between the unseen world of thought and the tangible realm of experience. Yet, imagination is often left untamed, wandering aimlessly, reacting to the circumstances around it, rather than directing the course of life. Intentional imagination is the deliberate practice of shaping your inner world to align with the life you wish to live. It is the conscious act of creating, through thought and feeling, the reality you desire. To engage in intentional imagination is to recognize the power you hold as the architect of your own experience. Every thought you dwell upon, every image you vividly create in your mind, sets a process in motion. The universe responds not to what you want, but to who you are being in thought and feeling. This is why intentional imagination is so transformative. It allows you to step into the role of creator, consciously directing your mental energy toward the fulfillment of your desires. The first step in harnessing intentional imagination is clarity. You must know what you want. Without a clear vision, your imagination cannot act with purpose. This clarity is not about setting rigid goals or obsessing over specifics. It is about identifying the essence of your desire. Ask yourself, what is the feeling I seek? Is it joy, love, freedom, abundance, or peace? Once you understand the core of your desire, you can begin to craft a mental scene that embodies it. This is where imagination becomes intentional. Close your eyes and step into the world of your fulfilled desire. Create a vivid mental picture of the life you want to live. Engage all your senses, see the colors, hear the sounds, feel the textures, and even smell the air. For example, if your desire is to live in a beautiful home, imagine yourself walking through it. Run your hands along the walls, feel the warmth of the sunlight streaming through the windows, and listen to the echo of your footsteps on the floor. Make it real in your mind, so much so that your body begins to respond as though it were physically present. But imagination alone is not enough. It must be fueled by emotion. Feeling is the secret ingredient that breathes life into your mental images. Ask yourself, how would I feel if my desire were already fulfilled? Would you feel joyful, grateful, relieved, or excited? Whatever the feeling, allow it to rise within you as you immerse yourself in the scene. This emotional charge is what impresses your vision upon your subconscious mind, setting the creative process into motion. Intentional imagination requires discipline. It is not enough to visualize your desire once and hope for the best. You must make it a daily practice, a consistent effort to dwell in the state of your wish fulfilled. This is not about forcing or straining. It is about gently redirecting your thoughts whenever they stray. If doubt arises, remind yourself that the inner world is the true reality, and that what you imagine with conviction will eventually harden into fact. This practice is deeply personal. It is not about convincing others of your vision or seeking validation from the outside world. Intentional imagination is a private communion with your inner self, a sacred space where you shape the life you wish to lead. Protect this space and let no one disturb it with skepticism or negativity. Your imagination is your sanctuary, the place where all things are possible. As you continue to practice intentional imagination, you may notice subtle changes in your life. Opportunities may arise unexpectedly, challenges may resolve themselves, and people may treat you differently. These shifts are not coincidences, they are the natural result of the inner work you are doing. The world is a mirror, reflecting the state of your mind. When you change within, the outer reality must follow. Intentional imagination also cultivates a deep sense of trust. You may not know how or when your desire will manifest, but you trust that it will. This trust is not passive, it is an active, unwavering confidence in the creative process. You know that the same power that created the stars and the oceans resides within you, and it is working on your behalf. This trust allows you to let go of the need to control and instead focus on the joy of creation. Intentional imagination is an act of self-love. By envisioning and feeling into the life you desire, you affirm that you are worthy of it. You declare to yourself and the universe that you deserve to live a life of joy, abundance, and fulfillment. This self-affirmation is the foundation upon which your dreams are built, and it is the key to unlocking the limitless potential within you. The first step in cultivating the discipline of focus is to understand its value. Your attention is your most precious resource. Where you direct it determines the quality of your experiences and the trajectory of your life. Imagine a beam of sunlight concentrated through a magnifying glass. It can ignite a flame. Similarly, when your focus is concentrated, it can ignite profound transformation, turning vague desires into concrete realities. Yet, focus is not merely about effort, it is about intention. To focus effectively, you must know what you want. Without a clear purpose, focus becomes aimless, like a ship without a rudder. This is why clarity is the foundation of focus. Take the time to define your goals, whether they are related to personal growth, professional achievement, or spiritual fulfillment. Write them down, visualize them, and reflect on why they matter to you. This clarity will serve as your anchor, keeping you steady amidst the distractions of daily life. One of the greatest challenges to focus is the constant barrage of external distractions. Notifications, social media, endless to-do lists, these are the enemies of deep focus. To overcome them, you must create an environment that supports your discipline. Turn off unnecessary notifications, designate specific times for checking emails or messages, and eliminate clutter from your physical and digital spaces. These small changes signal to your mind that you are serious about your focus, allowing you to dive deeper into the tasks that matter most. The discipline of focus also requires prioritization. Not everything deserves your attention. To focus deeply, you must be willing to say no to distractions, even those that seem urgent but are not truly important. This may mean declining invitations, postponing tasks, or stepping back from obligations that do not align with your goals. Remember, every no to something unimportant is a yes to what truly matters. Another key to cultivating focus is managing your energy. Focus is not just a mental act, it is deeply connected to your physical and emotional state. A well-rested, nourished, and calm mind can focus more effectively than a fatigued or stressed one. Prioritize self-care, exercise, and mindfulness practices to keep your energy levels high. Recognize that focus is a finite resource. Work in focused intervals, taking breaks to recharge before diving back in. The practice of single tasking is a powerful way to strengthen your focus. In a culture that glorifies multitasking, single tasking is a radical act of discipline. When you give your full attention to one task at a time, you not only complete it more efficiently, but also with greater quality. Single tasking trains your brain to remain engaged, building the neural pathways that support sustained focus over time. Focus also thrives on rhythm. Establishing routines and rituals creates a structure that supports your discipline. Whether it's dedicating the first hour of your day to a specific task, meditating before starting work, or setting aside time for reflection, these practices help your mind settle into a rhythm of productivity. Over time, these rituals become second nature, reducing the effort required to maintain focus. The discipline of focus is about aligning your inner and outer worlds. When your thoughts, actions, and environment are all directed toward a common purpose, focus becomes effortless. It is not something you force, but something you embody, a natural state of alignment with your highest intentions. In this state, distractions lose their power, and your energy is fully available for the life you are consciously creating. Letting go is not about losing, it is about freeing yourself. It is the gentle art of releasing what no longer serves you, whether it is an idea, a belief, an emotion, or a situation. The habit of letting go is one of the most liberating practices you can cultivate, for it clears the space within you for new possibilities to emerge. It is not an act of resignation, but an act of empowerment and acknowledgement that clinging to what is no longer aligned with your growth only holds you back. To understand letting go, one must first confront attachment. As humans, we have a natural tendency to hold on to people, memories, expectations, and outcomes. These attachments give us a sense of security, a feeling of control. Yet often, they become the very chains that bind us. They weigh us down, cloud our vision, and keep us rooted in the past or fixated on the future, unable to fully embrace the present. Letting go begins with awareness. What are you holding on to? Perhaps it is a past hurt, a relationship that has run its course, a mistake you cannot forgive yourself for, or a dream that no longer resonates with who you are becoming. Take a moment to observe these attachments without judgment. The first step to releasing them is recognizing their presence. The habit of letting go is not about forcing yourself to forget or ignore, it is about acceptance. Acceptance does not mean you condone what happened or deny its impact. Rather, it means you acknowledge it without resistance. You say, yes, this is part of my journey, and in doing so, you strip it of its power over you. Acceptance is the doorway to freedom. One of the most profound aspects of letting go is understanding that holding on does not preserve the past or guarantee the future. It only robs you of the present. Think of your life as a flowing river. To cling to a rock in the middle of that river, refusing to move, is to resist the natural current. The river will continue to flow, but you will be stuck, exhausted by the effort to stay in place. Letting go is like releasing the rock and allowing yourself to flow freely with the river's course. Emotions often anchor our attachments. We hold on to anger, resentment, fear, or grief, believing that releasing them diminishes our experiences or leaves us vulnerable. Yet the opposite is true. To let go of these emotions is to honor them fully and then set them free. This does not mean you suppress or deny your feelings. It means you feel them fully and allow them to pass through you, rather than taking up permanent residence in your heart. The habit of letting go also extends to expectations. How often do we find ourselves frustrated because life does not unfold as we had planned? Expectations, when rigid, become traps. They box us into a narrow view of what should be, blinding us to the opportunities and beauty of what is. Letting go of expectations does not mean you stop desiring or dreaming. It means you release the need to control how and when those desires manifest. It is an act of trust, a belief that life is unfolding in perfect order, even if you cannot see it in the moment. Letting go requires courage. It is not always easy to release what has been a part of you, even if it causes you pain. But courage grows with practice. Start small. Let go of a minor irritation, a grudge from yesterday, or an expectation about how your day will unfold. Notice the relief, the lightness that comes with this act. Over time, you will find the strength to let go of bigger things, relationships, fears, or dreams that no longer align with your highest self. Cultivating the habit of letting go also involves forgiveness, not just of others, but of yourself. Holding on to guilt or shame weighs you down, keeping you trapped in cycles of self-judgment. Forgiveness is not about excusing your actions or those of others. It is about releasing the hold they have on your heart. It is about saying, I free myself from this burden, and allowing the healing process to begin. Letting go is not a one-time act, but a daily practice. Life constantly presents us with opportunities to release old stories, unhelpful habits, or the illusion of control. With each act of letting go, you create space within yourself. This space is not emptiness, it is potential. It is the fertile ground where new ideas, relationships, and experiences can take root. In this practice, trust becomes your anchor. Trust in yourself, in the process of life, and in the infinite intelligence that guides all things. Trust that what is meant for you will not pass you by, and what is not meant for you will fade away. This trust allows you to let go with grace, knowing that every ending is also a beginning. So, the beauty of the habit of letting go is that it aligns you with the natural rhythms of life. Seasons change, tides ebb and flow, and so too must we. By embracing this truth, you step into harmony with the world around you, no longer resisting change but moving with it. This is where freedom lives, not in clinging to what was or grasping for what might be, but in the willingness to let go and trust the unfolding journey. In the stillness of quiet reflection lies a power that cannot be overstated. It is within moments of silence that clarity is born, insights arise, and the soul finds its voice. Quiet reflection is not just a pause, it is a profound act of connection, a moment where the outer noise is silenced and the inner truth is heard. In a world that rushes forward at an unrelenting pace, the habit of quiet reflection becomes a sanctuary, a sacred space where we realign with our deepest selves. Quiet reflection is also a time to reconnect with gratitude. Amid the hustle and challenges of daily life, it is easy to overlook the abundance that surrounds you. In reflection, you can pause to acknowledge the blessings, both big and small, that have graced your journey. Gratitude shifts your perspective, turning what you have into enough and what you experience into growth. It softens the edges of discontent and opens your heart to joy. Reflection invites you to explore your intentions. It is easy to act on autopilot, driven by routines and external expectations. But in quiet reflection, you can pause to ask, why am I doing this? What do I truly desire? These questions deepen your awareness, ensuring that your actions stem from authentic intention rather than unconscious habit. They guide you toward a life that is not just lived but lived meaningfully. The beauty of quiet reflection lies in its simplicity. You need no tools, no elaborate rituals, just yourself and a willingness to listen. Yet the simplicity of the practice does not diminish its depth. As you sit in stillness, you may find that the surface-level chatter of your mind begins to fade, revealing the deeper truths beneath. These truths are not always comfortable. They may challenge your assumptions, your beliefs, or your sense of identity. But they are necessary, for they illuminate the path forward. Quiet reflection also fosters resilience. Life's challenges often feel overwhelming because we lack the time or space to process them. In reflection, you can step back, gaining perspective on the difficulties you face. You can see them not as insurmountable obstacles, but as opportunities for growth. Reflection allows you to acknowledge your emotions, understand their roots, and respond with clarity rather than reaction. It is a practice that strengthens your inner foundation, enabling you to face life's storms with grace. This practice is not limited to solitary moments. While quiet reflection often occurs in stillness and solitude, its effects ripple outward. As you cultivate awareness and insight, you bring a deeper presence to your relationships, work, and daily interactions. You become less reactive, more intentional, and more attuned to the needs of others. The peace you find within yourself becomes a gift you offer to the world. Quiet reflection is not about achieving a specific outcome. It is about being with what is. In a culture obsessed with productivity and results, this can feel counterintuitive. Yet the most profound transformations often arise not from striving but from simply being. Reflection creates a fertile ground where growth occurs naturally, where wisdom emerges not through effort but through awareness. As you integrate quiet reflection into your life, you may notice subtle yet profound changes. Your thoughts become clearer, your emotions more balanced, and your sense of purpose more defined. You begin to see connections where before there was chaos, opportunities where before there was challenge. Reflection is not a one-time event but a lifelong practice, one that deepens with time and enriches every aspect of your existence. In quiet reflection, you remember who you are. You reconnect with the still, small voice within, the voice that whispers truths that the noise of the world often drowns out. It is here, in this sacred space of silence, that you find your center, your anchor in the ever-changing currents of life. Faith is the cornerstone of all creation, not the wavering, uncertain kind of faith that questions its own validity at every turn, but an unwavering belief in the power within you to shape your reality. This faith is not rooted in external circumstances or fleeting emotions. It is anchored deep within your being, tied to the eternal truth that you are a creator, imbued with the ability to bring your desires into existence. This kind of faith is not passive, it is dynamic and active. It requires you to align your thoughts with what you desire, even when the evidence around you suggests otherwise. Imagine planting a seed in the soil. You do not see it sprout immediately, yet you water it, tend to it, and trust that it will grow. Faith in your power works the same way. You may not see the immediate results of your efforts, but you persist, knowing that unseen forces are at work to bring your vision to life. Unwavering faith is tested most during times of doubt and challenge. It is easy to believe in your power when life flows smoothly, but what about when obstacles arise? These moments are not punishments or signs of failure, they are opportunities to deepen your faith. Challenges are like the refining fire that purifies gold, strengthening your resolve and reminding you of the immense power you hold. Faith also requires patience. In a world that often demands instant results, it can be tempting to abandon your belief when things do not manifest as quickly as you would like. But true power lies in holding steadfast to your vision, trusting in divine timing. The universe operates on its own schedule, orchestrating events and circumstances in ways you cannot always see or understand. Unwavering faith means trusting that everything is unfolding perfectly, even if it looks like nothing is happening. One of the keys to cultivating unwavering faith in your power is quieting the noise of doubt. Doubt is the thief of creation, whispering fears and uncertainties into your mind. Yet doubt has no power over you unless you give it your attention. Instead of entertaining thoughts of lack or limitation, feed your faith with affirmations, visualizations, and gratitude. Focus on what you want, not on what you fear. Gratitude plays a pivotal role in strengthening your faith. When you express gratitude for what you have and for what is on its way, you align yourself with the energy of abundance and creation. Gratitude is more than an emotion, it is a powerful vibration that attracts more of what you desire into your life. By cultivating gratitude, you reinforce your belief that you are already the creator of your reality, and this strengthens your faith in your power. Faith is not blind optimism, it is a conscious decision to see beyond the surface. It is the ability to look at a barren field and see a flourishing garden, to face adversity and see it as a stepping stone to growth. Faith transforms obstacles into opportunities and setbacks into setups for something greater. When you hold unwavering faith in your power, you view life not as a series of random events, but as a perfectly orchestrated journey leading you toward your highest good. Faith in your power is also faith in the unseen. Much of what shapes our reality operates beneath the surface, beyond the reach of the physical senses. Just as you trust that the sun will rise each morning, or that the seasons will change, trust in the unseen forces working in your favor. This trust is not naive, it is the deepest form of wisdom, rooted in the understanding that the universe is always conspiring for your benefit. As you cultivate unwavering faith, you begin to notice the synchronicities and signs that confirm your inner power. A chance meeting, an unexpected opportunity, or a sudden inspiration, these are not coincidences but reflections of your faith in action. The more you trust in your power, the more life responds to that trust, aligning circumstances to match your inner state. In cultivating the habit of unwavering faith in your power, you awaken to the limitless potential that resides within you. Each thought, feeling, and belief becomes a brushstroke on the canvas of your reality, and with faith as your guide, you paint a life of intention and fulfillment. Challenges no longer intimidate you, they become opportunities to deepen your trust in the unseen forces working in your favor. Faith is not merely a belief but a way of being a steadfast, knowing that you are the creator of your experiences and that everything you desire is already within your reach. By nurturing this inner conviction with gratitude, patience and self-compassion, you align with the flow of life and unlock doors you once thought were closed. Thank you for embarking on this journey of self-discovery, for daring to trust in your power, and for stepping into the life that is waiting for you to claim it. The universe responds to your unwavering faith. Keep believing, keep trusting, and watch the extraordinary unfold. There is a profound truth that governs this life we live. The one who places God above all else lacks nothing. When you align yourself with the infinite, when you make the divine presence your anchor, everything else, wealth, love, purpose, falls into place. But what does it mean to put God first? It is not a mere statement of faith or a ritual of worship. It is a daily, moment-by-moment practice of prioritizing the unseen over the seen, the eternal over the temporary. When you live from this center, you are no longer swayed by the shifting winds of life. Challenges may arise, but they lose their power to destabilize you because you are rooted in something eternal. The divine center is not outside of you, it resides within, waiting to be acknowledged. This is the great mystery. The same power that created the stars and moves the tides also dwells in the depths of your being. To recognize this is to awaken to your true nature. Most people live scattered lives, pulled in countless directions by desires, fears, and obligations. They chase success, relationships, or material wealth, believing these things will bring fulfillment. But this outward striving only leads to exhaustion, because it ignores the source from which all blessings flow. Divine centering requires a shift in perspective, a turning inward. It is the practice of realizing that everything you seek externally already exists in its fullness within you. When you make this realization, the world outside becomes a reflection of your inner alignment, rather than a force that dictates your state of being. Listen to yourself in the divine is to prioritize the unseen over the seen. This means trusting in the power of faith, imagination, and belief even when circumstances appear contrary. It is not about denying the reality of challenges, but about refusing to give them dominion over your spirit. When you are centered, you are no longer a victim of life's fluctuations. You become a creator, consciously shaping your experiences by aligning with a higher power within. This alignment begins with stillness. In the quiet moments when you withdraw from the distractions of the world, you find the presence of the divine. It speaks not in words but in the gentle assurance that all is well, that you are supported, loved, and guided. This stillness is not mere inactivity, it is a dynamic connection with the infinite, a place where inspiration flows and clarity emerges. Through meditation, prayer, or simple moments of reflection, you tap into this reservoir of wisdom and power. Divine centering also requires faith, not blind faith, but a knowing that transcends logic and evidence. Faith is the bridge between what is and what can be. When you center your life on the divine, you trust in outcomes before they manifest. You understand that your imagination is a powerful tool given to you by the Creator to shape your reality. By seeing yourself as already healed, abundant, or fulfilled in your mind's eye, you align with the divine vision for your life. Living from the divine center transforms your relationships, your work, and your sense of self. You no longer seek validation or security from external sources because you are anchored in a power that cannot be shaken. This does not mean you abandon the world or its responsibilities. Rather, you approach them from a place of wholeness. You give freely because you are not afraid of lack. You love deeply because you are not attached to outcomes. You work diligently because your efforts are an expression of the divine flow through you, not a desperate attempt to prove your worth. When you make the divine your center, life becomes a harmonious dance. Obstacles that once seemed insurmountable are dissolved, not through struggle, but through the realization that they were never separate from the divine plan. The things you once chased begin to flow effortlessly into your life because you are no longer resisting them with fear or doubt. You understand that the universe is conspiring in your favor, and your role is simply to remain aligned with this truth. Divine centering is not a one-time decision but a continual practice. It requires vigilance, for the world will constantly pull you away, tempting you to place your faith in external circumstances. But every moment is an opportunity to return to your center, to reaffirm your trust in the infinite power within. When you do, you will find that you are never truly lost, for the divine is always there, waiting to guide you back to the truth of who you are. Imagination is the sacred tool through which the divine communicates with you. It is not merely the realm of fantasy or idle daydreaming, it is the language of creation, the voice of God whispering within your mind. When you recognize the true power of imagination, you understand that it is not separate from the divine. Instead, it is the divine itself seeking to express, create, and manifest through you. From the beginning of time, every great achievement, every monumental discovery, and every work of art has been birthed in the imagination. It is the blueprint of reality, the invisible stage upon which all things take form before they manifest in the physical world. Yet, so often, people dismiss imagination as insignificant, failing to see that it is their direct connection to the infinite creative power of the universe. To ignore your imagination is to ignore God's voice within you. Through imagination, the divine plants desires, ideas, and visions in your heart. These are not random or meaningless, they are the seeds of your purpose, waiting to be nurtured into reality. When you imagine something deeply and vividly, you are engaging in an act of creation. You are shaping the unseen substance of the universe into a form that aligns with your vision. This process is not passive, it requires faith and intention. To imagine is to say, I believe this is possible, even when your physical senses may suggest otherwise. Imagination is also the realm where you can commune with the divine. In the stillness of your mind, when you allow your thoughts to flow freely, you open a channel for divine inspiration. These moments of clarity, insight, or creative brilliance are not accidents. They are the voice of God speaking to you, guiding you toward your highest good. But to hear this voice, you must silence the noise of doubt, fear, and limitation. You must trust that your imagination is not leading you astray but drawing you closer to the life you were meant to live. Many people misuse their imagination, allowing it to be dominated by worry, fear, and negative scenarios. They rehearse their failures, anticipate rejection, and dwell on problems, inadvertently creating more of the very things they wish to avoid. What they do not realize is that their imagination is always active, always creating. It does not discriminate between positive and negative thoughts, it simply brings into form whatever is most vividly held in the mind. To use imagination wisely is to discipline it, directing it toward visions of joy, success, and fulfillment. When you understand imagination as the voice of God within, you begin to use it intentionally. Instead of allowing your mind to wander aimlessly, you choose to dwell on the good you wish to see in your life. You see yourself as healthy, even if illness persists. You imagine abundance, even if your bank account is empty. You picture harmony, even if conflict surrounds you. This is not denial, it is an act of faith. You are aligning with the divine reality that exists beyond appearances. Imagination also gives you the power to transform your past. While you cannot change events, you can reimagine their meaning. Through the lens of imagination, painful experiences can become lessons, and losses can reveal hidden blessings. This ability to reshape your perception is another way the divine speaks to you, reminding you that you are not bound by what has been, but are free to create what will be. Children often demonstrate the purest use of imagination. They see the world not as it is, but as it could be, untainted by doubt or limitation. As adults, we are called to return to this childlike faith not in naivety, but in a deep spiritual understanding of our creative power. When you embrace imagination as God's voice within, you reclaim this innocence and possibility. Imagination is not just a tool, it is a sacred responsibility. Each time you use it, you are co-creating with the divine, shaping the world not only for yourself, but for those around you. To honor this gift is to honor the Creator, recognizing that you are a vessel through which the infinite expresses itself. By listening to the voice of imagination and acting upon its guidance, you align with your divine purpose and step into the fullness of who you are meant to be. Faith is the cornerstone of all creation, the unseen force that binds the invisible with the visible, the formless with the formed. It is the ultimate priority because it determines the essence of your life. Without faith, even the grandest visions crumble under the weight of doubt and fear. With faith, mountains move, obstacles dissolve, and what once seemed impossible becomes inevitable. Faith is not a passive hope, but an active trust in the unseen power that governs all things. It is the assurance that what you desire is not only possible, but already present, waiting to manifest. To make faith your ultimate priority is to choose it above fear, doubt, and appearances. It is to believe in the promise of the unseen even when everything around you seems contrary. Faith does not require evidence, it creates evidence. It does not rely on what the physical senses perceive, it draws from the limitless reservoir of possibilities that exist beyond them. Faith is the bridge between your inner vision and your external reality. When you prioritize it, you align yourself with the creative power of the universe, allowing it to work through you without resistance. Faith begins in the mind. What you consistently hold as true in your thoughts will eventually express itself in your life. This is not a matter of wishful thinking, but a law of creation. The mind is the soil, and faith is the seed. When you plant the seed of belief and nurture it with focus and intention, it grows into the reality you experience. However, if the soil is filled with weeds of doubt and fear, the seed struggles to take root. This is why faith must be guarded and prioritized above all else. It requires vigilance, a deliberate choice to turn away from negativity and toward the assurance of the good you desire. Living with faith as your priority means trusting in the unseen processes that bring your desires to fruition. It is like planting a seed in the ground. You do not dig it up daily to check its progress. You trust that the earth, water, and sunlight are working together to bring it to life. Similarly, when you act in faith, you release the need to control every detail and instead rest in the certainty that what you have envisioned is on its way. This trust frees you from anxiety and allows you to live in peace, even while waiting for the manifestation. Faith is also a practice of gratitude. When you believe that your desires are already fulfilled, you naturally feel thankful, even before you see the results. Gratitude is a powerful force that amplifies faith, creating a cycle of belief and blessing. By expressing thanks for what you have yet to receive, you affirm your trust in the process and open yourself to greater abundance. This is not blind optimism, but a profound understanding of how the universe responds to faith and focus. Making faith your ultimate priority transforms how you respond to challenges. In moments of difficulty, faith reminds you that setbacks are not the end, but a stepping stone to greater things. It helps you see beyond the immediate problem to the larger picture, trusting that every obstacle carries within it the seed of a solution. Faith gives you resilience, enabling you to stand firm when circumstances seem overwhelming. It is the anchor that keeps you grounded in truth when the storms of life threaten to shake you. Faith is not dependent on the approval or validation of others. It is a deeply personal connection between you and the divine source within you. When you prioritize faith, you stop seeking external guarantees and instead rely on the quiet assurance of your inner knowing. This inner conviction gives you the courage to take bold steps, even when the path ahead is unclear. It allows you to act as if the promise is already fulfilled, for you know that your belief is the first step toward its realization. To make faith the ultimate priority is to surrender the need to know how or when your desires will manifest. It is to trust that the same power that placed the desire within you is already orchestrating the means to fulfill it. This surrender is not a sign of weakness, but of strength, for it acknowledges that the divine wisdom guiding your life is far greater than your limited understanding. In every moment, you have a choice to live by faith or to live by fear. When you choose faith, you align yourself with the infinite possibilities of the universe. You become a co-creator with the divine, shaping your reality through trust and belief. Faith as the ultimate priority is not just a spiritual ideal, it is a practical necessity. It is the foundation upon which all success, joy, and fulfillment are built. When you live by faith, you open the door to a life beyond your wildest dreams. The world often encourages you to look outward for guidance, validation, and fulfillment. It tells you that the answers to your problems lie in material success, relationships, or external circumstances. But no matter how far you search, the external world will always fall short, because it is merely a reflection of your inner state. The inner kingdom is the source, the cause behind every effect you experience. To access it is to tap into the wellspring of creation, where the true answers are found. This kingdom operates in stillness, beyond the noise and distractions of daily life. To enter it, you must turn your attention inward, away from the constant demands of the senses and the restless chatter of the mind. This turning inward is not an act of withdrawal, but of profound connection. It is a journey to the core of your being, where you find the presence of the divine. In this silence, the answers you seek begin to emerge not as a voice shouting over the chaos, but as a quiet knowing, a gentle certainty that guides you with clarity and wisdom. The answers within the inner kingdom do not always come in the form of immediate solutions or step-by-step instructions. Often they come as a shift in perspective, a deeper understanding of yourself and the situation at hand. You may find that the questions you thought were so pressing dissolve in the light of this inner wisdom. Problems lose their weight, not because they disappear, but because you see them from the vantage point of your higher self, the part of you that is connected to the infinite. The inner kingdom is also the realm of imagination, the divine faculty through which you shape your reality. When you envision the life you desire, you are drawing upon the creative power of this kingdom. Your imagination is not separate from this inner source, it is one of its greatest gifts, allowing you to see beyond current circumstances and into the realm of possibility. By imagining with faith and intention, you activate the power of the inner kingdom to bring your visions into reality. One of the most profound truths about the inner kingdom is that it is always accessible. No matter how far you feel you've strayed, no matter how lost or disconnected you may seem, the kingdom within remains unchanged. It does not judge or withhold its gifts, it simply waits for you to turn your attention back to it. In every moment you have the power to reconnect, to quiet your mind and listen to the wisdom that flows from within. As you learn to live from the inner kingdom, you begin to see the world differently. You no longer feel the need to control or force outcomes, for you understand that everything unfolds from within. You approach life with a sense of peace, knowing that you carry the answers to all things within you. Challenges become opportunities for growth, and uncertainty becomes an invitation to trust the process of creation. The inner kingdom is not just a place of answers, it is a place of profound joy, love, and fulfillment. It is the source of your deepest desires and the means through which they are realized. To dwell in this kingdom is to live in harmony with the divine, to experience life as it was meant to be free, abundant, and filled with purpose. When you recognize that the inner kingdom holds all answers, you step into the fullness of your true self, empowered to create a life that reflects the infinite beauty within. Your true desires are not arbitrary whims or fleeting thoughts, they are the whispers of God's will within you. They are the compass guiding you toward your highest purpose, placed in your heart not by accident, but by divine intention. To understand this is to see your desires not as selfish or materialistic pursuits, but as sacred calls to action, aligning you with the infinite wisdom and love of the Creator. God's will and your deepest desires are one and the same, for He speaks to you through the longings of your heart, urging you to step into the fullness of your potential. Many misunderstand the nature of desire, viewing it as something to suppress or deny in the pursuit of spiritual growth. Yet true desires, the ones that resonate deeply within your soul, are not born of ego or greed. They come from a place of divine inspiration, a reflection of the life God intends for you to live. These desires are uniquely yours, tailored to your journey, and are meant to lead you toward experiences that will expand your understanding of love, joy, and purpose. When you align with your true desires, you are not acting against God's will, you are fulfilling it. These desires are like seeds planted in your heart, waiting to be nurtured through faith and action. They are meant to grow into expressions of the divine, manifesting in ways that not only bless you but also serve the greater good. To ignore or dismiss these desires is to deny the creative power within you, the same power through which God brings His will to life. Living in harmony with God's will means trusting the desires He has placed within you, even when they challenge you or seem impossible. Often these desires will require you to step out of your comfort zone, to let go of limiting beliefs, and to embrace the unknown. This is not a test of your worthiness, but an invitation to grow. Through the pursuit of your true desires, you become more of who you were created to be, discovering strengths and gifts you may not have known you possessed. Your desires also serve as a form of divine communication, a way for God to reveal His will for your life. They are not random, they are deeply connected to your unique gifts and the contributions you are meant to make in the world. By following them, you align with the greater plan, becoming a vessel through which God's love and creativity flow. In this way, pursuing your desires is not selfish, it is an act of service, fulfilling your role in the intricate tapestry of life. The obstacles you encounter on this journey are not signs that your desires are misguided. Instead, they are opportunities to deepen your faith, refine your character, and strengthen your resolve. Every challenge you face in pursuit of your desires carries within it the seeds of transformation. These moments are where you learn to trust in God's timing and wisdom, knowing that delays and detours are part of the process, shaping you into the person who can fully receive and steward the blessings ahead. It is also important to discern between fleeting wants and true desires. Superficial wants often stem from fear, comparison, or societal pressures, while true desires come from a place of inner peace and alignment. You will recognize these desires by the sense of purpose and fulfillment they bring, even before they manifest. They resonate deeply within you, carrying an undeniable sense of rightness that transcends logic or external validation. To live in alignment with God's will is to embrace your desires with confidence and gratitude. It is to see them as sacred, trusting that they are leading you toward a life that glorifies God and blesses others. This alignment does not mean you will never face uncertainty or struggle, but it does mean you will always have a guiding light within, pointing you toward your highest good. When you honor your true desires, you honor God. You acknowledge His presence within you and His loving plan for your life. By stepping into this alignment, you become a co-creator with the divine, bringing His will to life in ways that inspire, uplift, and transform. In this partnership, you find not only the fulfillment of your desires, but also the deep peace and joy of living in harmony with the Creator. The world is filled with temptations that entice us into believing that our worth and happiness are tied to external things, possessions, achievements, relationships, and status. These worldly attachments create the illusion of permanence and fulfillment, but they are fleeting and ever-changing. To anchor yourself in them is to build your life on a foundation of shifting sands. True peace and freedom come only when you see through the illusion and recognize that your essence is not dependent on what you have or achieve, but on the divine presence within you. Worldly attachments thrive on the promise of satisfaction, but they deliver only momentary gratification. The pursuit of wealth, recognition, or approval may provide temporary highs, yet they always leave an insatiable void, urging you to seek more. This cycle is not a reflection of failure or inadequacy, but of the nature of external things. They cannot provide lasting fulfillment because they are not designed to. Fulfillment comes from within, from a connection to the infinite and unchanging source of all life. Attachments arise when you identify yourself with what you possess or achieve. You begin to believe that your value is tied to your material success, your relationships, or the roles you play in life. This identification is the root of much suffering, for it binds you to a constant state of striving and fearing loss. When you derive your sense of self from the external, you become vulnerable to the inevitable changes of life. Wealth can fade, relationships can shift, and status can diminish, leaving you feeling adrift and powerless. The illusion of worldly attachments is deeply tied to the idea of control. You may cling to things or people, believing that by holding on tightly, you can prevent loss or maintain happiness. Yet control is another aspect of the illusion. Life is in constant motion, and the more you try to grasp at its impermanence, the more it slips through your fingers. Freedom is not found in holding on, but in letting go, in trusting that the divine order of the universe will provide all that you need. Detachment does not mean renouncing the world or rejecting its beauty and opportunities. It means engaging with life without being enslaved by it. You can enjoy the blessings of material abundance, relationships, and achievements, but you do so with the awareness that they are not the source of your worth or happiness. Detachment is not indifference, it is freedom. It allows you to live fully and gratefully, knowing that your true identity and joy are independent of external circumstances. The illusion of worldly attachments is often reinforced by fear of loss, rejection, or failure. These fears keep you bound to what is familiar, even when it no longer serves your highest good. To break free, you must confront these fears with faith, trusting that letting go will not leave you empty, but will open the way for something greater. When you release your grip on the transient, you create space for the eternal to flow into your life. Recognizing the illusion requires a shift in perception. You begin to see the external world not as the ultimate reality, but as a reflection of your inner state. The things you once chased for validation become mirrors, showing you where you have placed your power outside yourself. This awareness is not a cause for despair, but a call to reclaim your sovereignty. It reminds you that true security and fulfillment come not from what you acquire, but from your alignment with the divine source within you. When you see through the illusion, you realize that you are not here to accumulate but to express. You are a vessel for divine creativity, love, and wisdom, and your purpose is to bring these qualities into the world. The things and experiences you once sought as ends in themselves become tools for growth and expression, no longer chains that bind you but instruments that serve your journey. The practice of letting go is not always easy. It requires faith, courage, and patience. But as you release your attachments, you begin to experience a profound sense of peace and freedom. You discover that the less you cling, the more you receive, and the less you fear, the more you are able to love. Letting go is not a loss, it is a return to your true nature, a state of unity with the infinite abundance of life. Worldly attachments lose their power when you anchor yourself in the eternal. As you turn inward, you find the unshakable foundation that cannot be taken or diminished. This inner connection is the source of all that is good, true, and lasting. From this place you engage with the world not as a seeker, but as a creator, not as one in need, but as one who is whole. The illusion fades and you step into the reality of your divine essence, free and fulfilled. Living from the fulfillment of oneness is the ultimate realization of your true nature and the divine unity that underpins all existence. This fulfillment begins with the awareness that you are not separate from the source of life, from the world often appears the abundant flow of creation, filled with distinctions and divisions. Oneness is not merely a concept to be intellectually understood, but a profound state of being. But these dualities are simply manifestations of the mind's tendency to categorize and label. All you desire, beneath this surface and all you strive for already exists lies the unchanging reality you and the Creator are one. You are a part of this wholeness, intricately connected to every aspect of existence. To live from this oneness is to rise above the illusion of division and embrace the infinite nature of your being. Oneness is the essence of abundance, for there is no lack in unity. When you live with the awareness that you are one with the Creator, you understand that the source of all life, creativity, and prosperity is already within you. There is no need to grasp, beg, or strive endlessly for external things, because you recognize that what you desire is not separate from you. It flows through you and is available to you as soon as you align with it in consciousness. To live from the fulfillment of oneness is to embody the truth that you already are what you seek. This state of fulfillment is not dependent on circumstances. It does not require the perfect job, the ideal relationship, or the resolution of every challenge. Instead, it arises from the recognition that your worth and peace come from within, from your divine connection to the whole. Circumstances may change, challenges may come and go, but the sense of oneness remains constant. It is the unshakable foundation that allows you to move through life with grace, confidence, and joy. To live from oneness is also to transcend fear and doubt. Fear arises from the belief in separation, the idea that you are alone, vulnerable, or lacking something essential. But when you know that you are one with the infinite, fear loses its grip. You trust the divine flow of life, knowing that you are always supported, always guided, and always provided for. This trust allows you to act with courage and faith, knowing that every step you take is part of the greater unfolding of your purpose. The fulfillment of oneness transforms your relationships. When you see others as extensions of the same divine essence that flows through you, you no longer feel the need to compete, judge, or compare. Love becomes your natural response, because you recognize that in loving others, you are loving yourself and honoring the Creator. This perspective dissolves conflict, heals wounds, and fosters deep, meaningful connections. Relationships cease to be transactions or sources of validation, and instead become opportunities to express and receive the infinite love that flows through all of creation. Living from oneness also reshapes how you approach challenges. You no longer see obstacles as barriers but as invitations to grow and expand. You understand that the same creative power that birthed the universe resides within you, enabling you to overcome any difficulty. Your challenges become opportunities to deepen your connection to the divine and to express the fullness of your potential. With this awareness, you face life with resilience and optimism, knowing that every experience is part of your journey toward greater self-realization. The fulfillment of oneness brings a profound sense of peace. It quiets the restless mind, dissolves the need for validation, and frees you from the endless pursuit of external goals. This peace does not come from avoiding life's complexities, but from embracing them with the understanding that you are never alone, never lacking, and never separate from the divine. It is a peace that allows you to be fully present, living fully from alive, the fulfillment of and oneness, fully engaged is the realization that your life is not a quest to become something but an awakening to what you already are. You are a divine expression of the infinite, complete and whole in every way. When you live from this awareness, you radiate love, joy, and abundance, inspiring others to see the same truth within themselves. In oneness, you find not only fulfillment, but also the profound realization that you are, and have always been, one with all that is. In conclusion, to put God first above all else is to live in alignment with the divine truth of your being. It is to recognize that the Creator is not separate from you, but is the essence of all that you are and all that you experience. By centering your life on this truth, you transcend the illusions of separation, fear, and lack, and step into the fullness of divine unity, abundance, and peace. When you live with faith, guided by the divine will within, you unlock the limitless power of oneness and discover that everything you seek has always been within you. As you journey forward, may you continually choose to release attachments to the transient and embrace the eternal presence of God within you. Let this divine awareness be the foundation of your life, guiding your actions, shaping your relationships, and bringing you the fulfillment that can only come from living as one with the infinite. Thank you for opening your heart and mind to these words. May they inspire and empower you to live in the profound joy and freedom of divine unity. Blessings to you always.